Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blade and Soul Season 1 North American Invitational. My name is Brunj, and joining me here is none other than Rainy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's been a long time since I've gotten to enjoy Blade and Soul competitively, but I'm super excited for this new North American esports endeavor. I can't. There have been so many games that have just been played today, and that's just North America. Europe happened yesterday, so lots of competitive Blade and Soul going around, and it's a pleasure to be back on kind of the casting desk with you, Brinch.
And it's a pleasure to have you, of course. And if any of you are not familiar with the tournament format, it is going to be a double elimination format, meaning that each team needs to win, or rather to lose 2 times before getting disqualified. And on top of that, it is going to be a 7-set mix and match setup for the semifinals and grand finals, meaning each team will have 1v1s to fight through, which award 1 point each respectively, and 3 versus 3 sets that give out 2 points. And if it gets to it, the decider 3 versus 3 set will award the winning team 3 points. So once again, in terms of the pricing, there are awesome prizes on the table here for all of these teams, not to mention all of the fighting points. For that first prize, alongside that $1,200, they will be going home with an additional 220 fighting points. Second place will be awarded 150 fighting points, third place 90, and fourth 50. And all these fighting points are really important because each team wants to definitely qualify for the upcoming wildcard tournaments and regional finals to then further go on and represent North America at the World Championship. So that's going to be very exciting to watch. But already looking at the brackets, we have some really interesting turn of events because everyone expected Hurricane to come in, sweep the competition, and turns out we're going to have Guardian versus OUO coming up first for these semifinals.
Yeah, it's a really interesting turnout. Now, some of these teams, I mean, it's been a long time, right? So some of these players are actually very familiar, and some of them definitely new faces. Hurricane seemed to have a really good record coming into the tournament in general and just in the competitive Blade and Soul space. But now that they're pushed down to the lower bracket, it's tough. You know, there's a lot of pressure, and that also means that at the end, you might have the extended series as well. There's a lot fighting against you. And so OUO or OUO, or however you want to say their name, is actually very well positioned, I think, based on kind of the current standings of the seedings, them being in the second seed technically, but defeating Hurricane, or at least Hurricane being upset by Guardian in that sense, allows a perhaps safer, more consistent path to victory for OUO.
But even with that being said, some of the other interesting matches that have been going through is Flicker. If some of you might be aware, being Gummy Senpai's team managed to actually beat Impact in the end. So that was definitely unexpected, but awesome to see. Of course, Gummy has casted previous Rumble in the Realms, and now being a part of a competitive team is going to be setting his sights on at least a 4th place finish. So we'll see what he can do. But in the meantime, of course, once again, a lot is on the line here for all of these teams. First prize, $1,200. Awesome cash prizes, awesome stuff overall. And I'm just too excited to see that first set go through.
It's great because ever since the beginning of Blade and Soul, competitions and tournaments were a big thing, and to finally see that come to something that has a lot of structure as well as the path forward. There's a lot of events to come, and you were mentioning the fighting points. There's so much direction for these players to go. It's going to be really exciting to see who's strong at the start and if they can still be strong at the end. And what does that mean for international competition as well? I'm really excited to get in and see what North America has to offer, if that can hold a candle up to what Europe has to offer, or what Korea or Taiwan or China or Japan. You know, there's so many other regions out there that we have to fight against. It's going to be interesting to see the results.
And of course, if any of you watched the European Invitational, which happened yesterday, if you missed it, you can catch up on it on the official Blade and Soul YouTube channel. It's going to be uploaded there. But there has been some really exciting matches, and EU already proved themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, because with the plays they've displayed yesterday, you really can't count them out from the World Championship. They definitely have potential to bring a lot of upsets there. And as you said, now that we can finally get to see North America, and already with some different results being live, definitely can't call out any victor just yet.
Yeah. Hey, so while we have some time, you mentioned the mix and match format, right? And obviously this is something that's not been done before, at least initially when I was doing tournament casting. So if, for my sake, take a little bit of time and explain to me what that format looks like, how will these players be competing, how do you differentiate yourself with your opponents, and how do you gain the lead against them?
Well, first of all, for any Blade and Soul esports news, definitely make sure to check out the official Blade and Soul esports page and Twitter on BNS Esports, where there's also an article explaining this in further detail. But basically, you have different 1v1s lined up where each team needs to set up their first player fourth, and going into the second 1v1, that previous player cannot participate again until the fourth 1v1 in the set. So it's really important to keep in mind which, in terms of the mind game element, which class and player you're gonna unleash, if you will, in that first set, because that could definitely dictate the outcome of the upcoming sets. So that is going to be very important. But with that being said, free versus free is going to be huge too. But Rainy, take it away.
All right, we've jumped into this match. Two very popular names, Dabears and Cassis, up against each other. And so it's going to be an Assassin versus Blade Master matchup. And I feel like I haven't seen this in a long time. We'll see what they do. Oh, the Home Moon block is popped, and he actually gets the pushback, causes a flower to be spent, and that's going to be a good start for the Blade Master there. Obviously, a lot of cooldowns pop now, so it's up to Dabears to make the comeback happen. How do you feel like these two players match up against each other, Brunch?
So far, Cass is having a really good time. Still has that second wind available if needed. The question is, when will he actually go ahead and opt in to use it? So far, sacrificing a lot of his HP, actually, Rady. He's dropping really low.
There it is. He was looking for the moment of opportunity. Flower is still down, but Tab Escape is available for the Assassin. We'll see if he can make a play off of it. There's a backstep into the stealth, and this could be a very dangerous situation. Tries to catch him out of stealth. There comes the kick. Doesn't get the CC on it. The Mind Fall pushes Cassis onto the floor, and now he's having to struggle to get his feet back on the ground, and he seems to do it. Gets the knockdown. There's a tap from the Assassin. He's got the flower. Is he going to spend it? He puts it down. So Dabears is going to be safe, and there it is. Cassis being taken down by the Assassin. Man, and that was such a fast-paced match. I really like how Dabears played himself out of that situation. It was really good.
Especially since at the beginning, it wasn't really looking good for the Assassin there. But Cassis, unfortunately for him, even though he was smart in terms of using that or waiting on using that tab escape and second win, making sure he tries to get a catch off of it, because of course now with a crowd control in the free yard range being available when used, means that he not only needs to get out of trouble when using it, but try to also put his opponent in a bad spot. So unfortunately for Cassis, this didn't really work out for him. The Bears playing it beautifully, and that's one of the big problems when facing off against the Sin. You not only need to take care of the Lotus Flower, which is their first form of escape, you also need to take into consideration the fact that they have their own second or tab escape available too. So
resources from a Blade Master against an Assassin are quite interesting, because you have your tab escape, and typically using the knockback blade call will help you against matchups where your opponents have grabs, right? Spirit grabs or destroyer grab or anything like that. But in the Assassin matchup, you kind of want it because you want to try to knock them out of stealth. And Cassis used that very aggressively in the start, and we saw him get a good combo off of it. But then towards the end, you saw him opt to use the backdash and the Lunar Slash instead to try to hit him out. And if he had that extra resource, maybe he could have made something happen. It's hard to kind of figure out how the game would have played out if he made different choices. I don't disagree with Cassis's aggressive play, but I do think that a very unfortunate reality of the situation was he couldn't knock the Bears out of stealth in that one particular scenario, and that gave the Bears just enough time to get his Flower of Escape up again. And then the situation gets super complicated because you're just cycling tab escape and the flower. It was just so hard to catch an Assassin at that point.
And not only that, but if I'm not mistaken, during the air combo Cassis was setting up, he actually got knocked down by the mine, stopping him midway. So that is definitely not something he was looking out for, unfortunately. And we'll see for our second round who's going to be the choice for both of these teams. Of course, Cassis and the Bears both respectively cannot fight once more just yet. So that is the next question. Which one is going to come up next? Will it be the Summoner for OUO or their respective third member? Or is it going to be 14 Guardian, the Destroyer option, or Warlock coming up next in Icenia?
There it is, a beautiful graphic showing you the members of each team. And Guardian takes the first win in the 1v1. I think classically, the Assassin into Blade Master matchup has been quite a back and forth thing, because the Blade Master does have a lot of options, especially with things like Homeland Block and the amount of burst you can get off an air combo with your Homeland Lightning Slash. But it's just so difficult when the Assassin is so quick at jumping in and out of stealth. It makes it very difficult to get consistent kind of poke on your opponent, and it allows the Assassin a lot of pace. So moving into these future matchups, it's obviously not going to be quite that aggressive and quite that bursty. Talk to me about some of the matchups that could be right now. Now, we talked a little bit about 3v3 compositions on our own time and what was kind of popular right now. Assassin is kind of a linchpin of many teams, right? You describe them as a stalling class. What are the other classes that you would look to bring, like, say, on Guardians? You know Dabears is a really great assassin, so how will you assist them in the 3v3 team? Because that's going to inform some of these 1v1 matchups that we're going to see, right?
We've seen plenty of, or we have seen players like Ryuki displayed yesterday on the European tournament, where they can come in with an Ice Mine in that 3 versus 3 environment and make sure with the set assist they can not only block the potentially or stop the opposing assist coming in for the enemy team, but they can also help the group member that is fighting currently with setting up for a combo, as well as just having that fighting spirit, because of course during 3 versus 3 you can swap some of those talents when you're not tagged in. So those are some of the options, of course, for a Sin. It depends in terms of just each situation and each team composition. Coming up next, I would expect to see Lori actually for OUO, and for Team Guardians possibly putting forward Vape on that Destroyer.
So that's going to be a very different matchup, and I think that I'd love to know kind of what the differences between Europe and Korea and North America and all these different regions are in terms of what they favor, right? What classes they like to pick. I know that previously, for example, in old community tournaments, you would see very different metas, and that might have been led by players who are stronger on certain classes and were taking up a lot of the mind share of the competitive space there. But classically, right, you would always see in the European region Kung Fu Masters and Force Masters coming out large. And in North America, there was a lot of Summoners, there were a lot of Force Masters as well. I wonder if that's kind of, if there's any kind of distinction now between North America and Europe.
There's quite a few distinctions still left, of course, but the big thing is, especially with Force Masters, up until recently, they've been a bit on the lackluster side of things, only just now receiving quite a few needed buffs, and as a result, some of that Force Master usage has been lowered. Definitely would expect to see way more in the future, and especially since Ultimates will be arriving in the game for our version too, that's going to shape up the landscape quite a bit, because then you have to keep in mind different additional things, of course, and that will make classes like Soul Fighter potentially even more dangerous, because having at your disposal a full heal can definitely turn things around in a 3 versus 3 environment. So it's exciting to see. Of course, right now in Europe especially, a lot of the classes that are being used are the ones that most players are comfortable with, in the sense that they've been playing it since launch or beta, basically, for the most part. So we still see players like Ryuki on Dead Assassin and so on and so forth.
All right, so it's going to be Ikini versus Gold Hollow. What great names. Ooh, the Destroyer uses his invul there. And the Warlock is looking to put on a little bit of pressure, gets the Sanctuary down, so that's going to give him a little bit of stability here and start to put some pressure on. Oh, man, and Gold is losing quite a bit of health here.
Oh, but Gold actually adopting Mr. Duke's strat from yesterday, going for the Fury as his aggressive option. Already killing the Fall means that Ikini is going to be without a Time Warp available, and this spells trouble for the Warlock right now, Rainy.
Oh, man. And it looks like the Destroyer has finally put on some pressure, but right at that moment, as the Warlock backed out of it, was able to get a huge air combo onto the Destroyer, and he's down to about 40% health already. Shield coming up for a second time here. And this match seems real tough for the Destroyer to get in and make something happen, but it seems that once he does get in, he lands the charge stun, and there's a Daze on the axe throw. He's going ham. Oh my god! And I was just about to say, it's all about the Destroyer closing the gap and making something happen. Put the knee to the face, bro, through the axe, clean him up, no problem. Super
just delete it. And that was, I was definitely scared there for Gold for a second, because even though he adopted Mr. Dude's strat from yesterday, I've got to call it Mr. Dude's strat because he pulled it off yesterday in the Europe Invitational. But killing the Thrall is all fine and dandy, but if you cannot keep up the pressure, the Warlock still can do a lot of damage, as we've seen through that aerial once he connects with the Leech. So still really well done by Gold to pull through and get that win in the end, catching his opponent without an escape means that was pretty much it for him. So
it's really tough for a Warlock, right? Because especially when you're up against a class like Destroyer, where you have so many different sources of CC, it's very tempting to pop your escape while it's still dangerous, right? And I feel like that kind of happened. What you have your barrier, right? As a Warlock, you have your 5-hit shield, then you have Sanctuary, and then you have your tab escape, you have your rollout, right? And after all those options were kind of depleted, and you didn't have any kind of demon kind of, cooldown reset, right? Thrall cooldown reset. What do you have left, right? It's literally just the Terminator walking at you, and he can just press a button, and you're put into a CC chain, and that's what Gold How did.
And it was absolutely brutal. And again, historically, this matchup has always favored Warlocks because they have so many tools to just go through that spin, through those parries, with the Helix, with even ruptures and everything. So normally you'd expect Warlocks to have the advantage, but so far, once again, Gold, just proving us wrong once more. The caster curse coming through.
Curse. That's probably because I'm lowering the mental intelligence of the cast, so our predictions are just getting incredibly bad. But what's going to be interesting is we're moving into now the first 3v3 match, and you mentioned a little bit about the point system. Each 1v1 is 1 point's worth of a win, and I believe in the 7-set format you need 6 points to be able to move on. And
correct.
So the 3v3 is going to award 2 points for the win. So this will be the first opportunity for either Guardian or OUO to kind of push ahead in the points lead and kind of secure an advantage for themselves. Currently, based on knowing what classes are being run here, which do you give favor to? Cassis is running Blade Master, which I believe to be a little more interesting, I'm going to call it, of a pick. How do you feel about that?
Blade Master, while can definitely do a lot in terms of burst once they do come out, or of course also save their teammates with that Hongmoon block variant, they are still a bit on the lackluster side of things. Again, Wing Protector does cleanse their respective teammates out of crowd controls, but so do Blade Dancers with their Maelstrom, and generally because Blade Dancers can have more aggressive options as follow-ups as well, they are preferred. But with that being said, the big factor here, I believe, is the fact that Guardian run a Warlock in their respective team. Warlocks right now are just so incredibly strong. They can put out so much damage, especially during the aerials, but not only during the aerials. And that's the big danger that, okay, while summoners most of the time are going to secure kills in an aerial combo assist, Warlocks, if you blink, you might just be gone. So
don't blink. Get your eye drops. Yeah. Get ready. Hold your eyes open. Pin them to your face, and make sure that you don't keep your eyes off the Warlock. Certainly that happened to Gold Haho in certain moments. It seemed like instantly once he got sent into the air, he just lost a chunk of health. I can only imagine in 3v3 how much worse that would get. But I'm excited to see. So OUO currently in the kind of tournament standings is seeded number 2 against Guardian, who's seeded number 4. We'll see if Guardian can make the upset happen jumping into this first 3v3 match. It looks like the first matchup here is Assassin versus Summoner to lead off. And we'll see. The Summoner being in this spot, talk to me a little bit about Summoner leading, Bridge, because you talked about how the Summoner was to assist in combos. What do you think is the decision here to make the Summoner the first player into the arena?
Well, just to try and deal with the likes of the assassin, but now coming in using that time warp, not really sure if it was worth. The problem with facing a summoner is that they can also stall for time. They have a lot of sustain. If you don't drop them extremely low, they can just heal all of that back up, and as we see, this could get really dangerous.
Definitely a lot of pressure being put on, but the Destroyer coming down, and I think he's going to try to stabilize the situation a little bit. But now he's disappeared, and Cassis is doing work. He's putting out a lot of damage, and an assist comes in to try to help out the situation here. Let's see if they can grab control. Guardian is a little lowish on health, and especially Daber seems to be pushed down pretty low. But he's in the middle of a combo, trying to put pressure onto Cassis. Gets pushed into the wall. Here comes the air combo. Are there any tag-ins? Let's see.
The assist did come through, and the Destroyer there not really doing too much off of it, but at the very least should force out that Lotus. And now going back in is going to try and finish things off, but with the Stone Shield getting proc, he's going to be safe for a while longer. And now that it finally stabilized, maybe it could be good enough, but with that being said, the Destroyer still might just try and set up a grab into a kill.
Oh, it gets stunned up, and there's a tab escape being spent. He tries to grab the assassin, but tagging out, and I think that's smart. The assassin was being pushed out of options. Now it's just the Warlock against the Destroyer, and we've seen this matchup in the 1v1 already. You want to run it back? You want to go again? Let's see if he can change his fate this time around. Look how trying to delay.
But now that he used a lot of his cooldowns, he needs the assistance of his teammates, and with that, we'll see a few tag in, but so far, none of them really losing too much in terms of HP pulls. We see even Gold How able to heal back up just a tiny bit with that Stone Shield, and as a result, he's buying quite a lot of time, but with the time warp now, this could spell trouble.
Everybody seemed to just run away the instant that came down, and I don't think there was a lot of value that was gained off of that, and that's a big cooldown. That's a lot that's lost for the Warlock.
Now, of course, coming back in, the Summoner has a lot of cooldowns available, but doesn't matter, dropping extremely low. Still, however, being able to recover for now might be forced to swap out once again.
Oh, the Flame Wheel soaked up a lot of damage, and I think the Summoner might be in a little bit of trouble. Uses escape, gets grabbed by the axe, and another flip back and tag out to keep safe. The fire spin gets interrupted by a good knockdown here by Cassis. Ooh, the day's up. Let's see what combo comes off this. He's going to use a tab escape. Really dangerous situation right now.
And with that being said, Cassis is still going to remain on the battlefield. See for how long he will do just so, because now without that second win, he's not going to be able to do too much. And on top of that, we also have Lori on that Summoner extremely low, so he can't go in for the assist too much. But so far, trying to do something off of the combo. The Bears, of course, still around 40% HP himself, so this is a really tough one to call.
It seems like they're really just trying to stall out right now. The Bears is kiting away, trying to keep maximum distance, but here comes Gold. Here he comes! The Terminator is coming! We'll see what happens. Gets a good knockdown. Ooh, the Daze! He tries to follow! He gets him out of the stealth! It might be super important to kind of stabilize the situation for Guardian here, and the tag-in is used to try to control the scenario. But still, Gold How is fire spinning. He's rolling. He's not stopping.
And we see the rematch come live once again. Akini is in, and with that, he's gonna have his time warp back up and available. Should be a very big factor here as he goes in for the leech, and with that, we might see Gold How just disappear as he drops really, really low. Somehow, goes still alive, but for how long?
That was so much health lost, and that's definitely a resource in Tier 3. Matches can be real extended, so losing any kind of health can dissuade you from making the proper decisions just from fright of being sent into the air and killed. You mentioned how much damage Warlocks can do. The lower you are, the easier it is for the Warlocks to just pop you, and it seems like Kenny is just one by one shooting down members of OUO.
And so far, even with the Summoner coming back in, the Lord trying to somehow stabilize and stall for his teammates. Of course, going into the late game, another big factor is teams are going to start running out of assists. And with that, oh my god! We just see the Summoner disappear right in front of our eyes.
Oh no, it looks like he went into the training room and was just smacking a dummy from that point on. That was so much damage from the Destroyer there. Grabs the first kill onto OUO, and Guardian might be running away with this. Good mind setup. Gets CC down on the knockdown. There's a tab escape. He gets a Daze, but Flowers installed for the Assassin. Gets the re-stealth too and avoids the Blade Call. This is going so well for Guardian right now.
And especially considering the Bears, yes, while he is relatively low, the other two members are extremely healthy for their respective lineup. But now, getting a potential catch here might be good enough. Tries to get him out of stealth with that use of the Flock of Blades, but doesn't get anything done too much. Does have the Lotus back down. Now is going to finally swap into the Destroyer, and with that, Vape is going to try and close things out for his team.
And they definitely are communicating with each other, talking about how long the cooldowns are up, and they know that Cassius has another Tab Escape ready to go. We'll see how he's willing to spend it. Now, just resource-wise, you need to think of on Team Guardian, they have an extra resource because they have an extra player, right? They have more CC escapes available. They can also hard tag out much easier. And I think it's just going to give them the resources they need to kind of choke out OUO in that sense of just constantly pressuring Cassius, then forcing the swap, or even just taking him out entirely just because they don't really have the option to go to the second player.
And now popping that Typhoon, forcing that second win use out of Cassius means that he is in big trouble. Can't really do too much as we see Vape try to close the gap. Doesn't quite get a catch, but Ember Stomp is down. Looking for the opportunity and the tab.
Oh my god. That was the absolute most awkward timing. Right when Goldhaho came in, he got hit by the axe grab. Let's see if that comes. Let's see what comes of it. Lots of pressure right now in this Destroyer mirror match, and there's a counter axe throw, and he's on the Ember Stomp, so he's gonna make something happen here. There still is a Tab Escape available, but it looks like holding it is the option there until finally he gets a daze, but the Flame Spin as the option to invul any kind of counterattack opportunity, and that's gonna force Guardians to swap out players.
So far, once again, got Warlock Destroyer matchup being so heavily favored to the Warlock's side means that it's gonna go for the Eric combo. Does use the leech, but doesn't get the kill quite yet. But with Time Warp being used, it's just a matter of time until their opponents are out of HP.
He's just shooting him. He doesn't care. Shield is up, but what's gonna happen directly after it? Tries to go for a play here, and oh my god, the Thrall comes in, tries to go for CC, sends him. Oh man, and the Warlock is being taken to Pound Town right now. And Goldhaho is still trying to hold on. Oh, the Flame Wheel into he grabs him up. I think this way he brings him back to the Ember Stomp. Come back to my place. I'm gonna beat you up right now. Oh, there's the reflex roll. Doesn't quite catch it. And now Goldhaho, he might be in the tough spot, Bringe.
Especially since Leech is back off cooldown, but he's gonna play extremely aggressively, try to do something off of it, and plays around that pet. Thrall Q stun, and as a result, with Stone Shield being back up, he's gonna be able to stay safe for a while longer, but can he get the opening he needs? Gets another air combo actually off of the Searing Strike, and now with the Typhoon being out, can he actually do it, or he's gonna get blown up?
Oh no, that's the absolute worst feeling, where you're just in neutral, in limbo mode, and the Warlock just starts lasering you down, leaving only Cassius to fend for his team, and still 3 members of Guardian alive. And I think it really came down to that matter of just them using their resources smartly, cycling out their players smartly, and it's going to be a tough road for Cassius to come back, especially at the health level he's at. He's putting a little bit of damage on, but here comes the assist. Nothing you can do at that point.
Unless he can actually take one member down here, I don't see how he can bring it back, because all of the assists and tags out will be available soon enough for the blue team here, but
oh no,
extremely low.
Oh god, he's having the end. There it is. There it is. Closes out. Wow. So Guardian not only took a 1v1 win off of them, but now winning this 3v3 as well puts them in the point lead. And this lower seeded team is really bringing it to OUO. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here.
And I would love to say that I'm surprised, but considering the fact that they actually managed to knock Team Hurricane down to the losers bracket,
they're really looking strong right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's their day today, Bringe. It's their day.
And once again, it's surprising because most of the time, the strongest composition built around, or generally built around, the Warlocks with a BD and the Sin. But with that being said, Guardian just making it work with their own Destroyer, which, as we've seen, can prove to be detrimental with those saves, with those stone shields, and just overall all the different tools they have available. Of course, their 2 respective escapes, as well as the burst potential.
So let's do some math here. Let's do some math. All right. So we're in the 7th set game. So the first 1v1 went to Guardian. The second 1v1 went to OUO. And then the 3v3 went to Guardian as well. So 3 points for Guardian, only 1 point for OUO. What happens if they win the next 2? Basically, even if Guardian wins the next 2 1v1s, they still have to win a 3v3 to close the match out, right? Because they need 6 points. So they're currently at 3. There's going to be 2 more 1v1s coming up. That's going to put them up to 5 points if they win both of them. So really the important game is set 6 for Guardians to close this out.
Definitely. And once again, the free versus free is where it matters the most, because there's a lot of more coordination, teamwork required, and as a result, you get more points awarded, 2 points respectively for each win. And if somehow we see Guardians not able to close it out in that 6th set, which is the next free versus free, they will have to win the last free versus free, which is in 7th set, and that one in particular awards 3 points. So at that juncture, we will definitely know our victor.
On the flip side, right, for OUO, the 2 most important matches that they have to think of, they must win set 6 and set 7. So the next 2 3v3s they have to win. If there's no other way they can gain enough points, right? Because even if they win both of the 1v1s coming up here, they're only going to be boosted up to 3 points. So that means if they win every single set from here on out, set 4, set 5, set 6 will only put them up to 5 points, right? So they need to actually win the 2 3v3s. They can lose the 1v1s, that's fine, but the 3v3s, they must perform. If they lose either one of those, it'll put them in a very bad spot.
And that's why they have to, at this point, just make sure they stay calm, recover, and try to find the winning strategy, or what could very well be their game plan for the next free versus free, because as you mentioned, those are going to be the moments where it matters the most. So in the meantime, coming up next will be a 1v1, and it is going to be Lorisal versus Vape.
There it is. Obviously, Vape doing real well in the 3v3 match there.
Ooh, but do you see what I see, Rady? That's a red angry destroyer that we could see in a second.
Yeah, he's about to get real mad, because he doesn't like bees very much. Oh, and he's starting to put the hurt! He's putting the hurt on! Oh my god! There's a leap to follow! The flip, there's the escape spent. The summoner might be in trouble. Dandelion is down. Here comes... Oh, he's not stopping! He's just spinning around, trying to close out the gap. Looks like he's going to back away and wait for a few cooldowns, but his moment of opportunity, he doesn't want to lose his chance.
And so far, maybe, just maybe, he just finds it off of the knee, but still, it's going to be really, really tough. The summoner can stall and recuperate potentially, but gets the grab finally now with the slam. Can he close it out? Drops the summoner extremely low, and good by Lori.
Wow.
Vape gets the win.
Guardian, Team Guardian is real sick right now. And that opening, I mean, bringing the red pill, right, is something that's always been the most annoying, painful thing in a tournament, right? When it's just like you're trying to play, you don't know what your opponent's got, and you're assuming like, okay, the destroyer that's playing the long game, he's gonna want perseverance, right? He's gonna want to make sure he has that extra CC escape, and then all of a sudden you're playing super carefully, you get him in CC, or he CCs you, and you're like, okay, I'll live, and he pops red buff and just bursts you down in a second. That can be so damaging, and in that case, I think he just connected early on in a really strong way, and it was too difficult for the summoner to stabilize the situation.
And that's another thing that's really interesting about these types of 1v1s, because it just happens so fast. You have to adapt on the fly, and you have to take into consideration of the tactical aspect of mind games. Is he going to run persistent? Is he going to go risky with a Fury build? You never really know, and you have to try and bring your A game and take into consideration all the different options and try to play as best as possible around most of those. So this time around, did pay off for Vape. Will be interesting to see if it's going to pay off next time still, because for our next 1v1, both teams can choose anyone once again. And judging by those past sets, who do you would like to see on the side of OUO?
So the only matchup in the 1v1 that was lost for Guardian was Ikeni into Gold How How. Cassis fell to Dabers, and Lorisal fell to Vape, right? So I feel like, given this particular scenario, you might want to run Gold How How again, or you might just, I mean, realistically, you might just want to run whatever you need to give yourself information about anything that could help you in the 3v3, right? Because that's your real goal here. even if OUO drop this, the 3v3 is still going to be really important. Now, I believe the way that the points work out here instead is if OUO wins, then that gives them a buffer in the 3v3 where they can lose set 6 and still be okay. Is that correct?
Correct, because then it would put Guardian at 5 points,
So,
I believe.
right,
So.
1, 3, 4. So they would be at 4. Oh, no, they'll still lose. Okay, so the situation is, so 1 point for winning a 1v1. I'm talking about Guardian right now. 2 points for winning the 3v3. That puts them up to 3. They just won the 1v1, so that's 4. So if they lose this next 1v1 and they're still at 4 points, but then they win the 3v3, that'll put them up to 6. So even
Correct.
if OUO wins, they can't give themselves that extra life, so to speak, right? So in this sense, I feel like they need to focus all their efforts on getting any kind of information, trying anything. Like, what is the player response? How do you think that this particular matchup will go? You know, any kind of little bit of information they can gain to help them in the 3v3 match is going to be absolutely key.
And considering the fact that we're most likely going to see, once again, Gold versus what I would foresee Ikini on that Warlock for the next 1v1, you definitely can't get too much information, mostly because why would Gold not run Fury once more? That is the real question. I can't see why wouldn't just straight up put him and use that Fury once again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. You don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole there, because then you start just overthinking everything and everything seems impossible. But what a match we have. Guardian is having the run of the day for sure in the winners bracket. And initially when we kind of looked at the bracket and we kind of saw, okay, Hurricane is down in losers, OUO is still up in winners, they're really well suited to take the turn of victory based on their standings. Now it looks like Guardians is also going to push OUO down. The same statement still stands, though, that Guardians then will have the better position moving through the tournament, just because of fatigue, right? They have to play less matches and they have a safety buffer at the end. So that pressure is not quite the same as the pressure that will be on Hurricane or OUO if they drop into the losers bracket.
Definitely. And once again, a lot is at stake here for all of these teams. First prize will claim $1,200 alongside those 220 points. And for a team like Guardian, if they take that first prize finish with those points, that can definitely give them enough boost to turn things around.
Oh my God, it is the run back. I like this because this is more than a tournament winnings, right? This is the grudge match. You beat me once, you beat me twice. We'll see if Kenny can get revenge here. Oh no, it looks like a little bit of damage being put out. Gets a knockdown, and there's a tab escape being spent by the Destroyer. He's trying to make something happen, but he has Fury, so he's not going to have any other escapes here.
And the big thing is, Ikini played it out really, really smart. Waited out of the fall, but doesn't matter. Typhoon into the trap.
He's being taken away. The upper stop is down, and this could be huge. Let's see if Gold How can make the 2-peat. Can he make the catch happen? He's kind of in the awkward neutral situation. Flame Wheel's being popped, and he's really trying to get away. The backstep as well. And now Kenny is trying to push aggressive, but that might be a little too aggressive. Sends him into the air, though. And I don't know, Brunge. This might be the turnaround moment.
But he still has Leech, and with Time Warp coming in, Brawl saving the day potentially here. Now we'll have a lot of cooldowns reset, and with those parries, bye-bye, fly away, Gold. You're done, and Ikini, way better adaptation, makes sure he actually gets the win.
Yeah, and a lot of it was down to that execution, right? In that scenario, when the cooldown reset came out, Ikeni was in a much better position, was much more stable, had defensive cooldowns available, so he could constantly put pressure on, and the execution was there. Made the catch happen, and just sent Gold Haho into the air and said, this is what the matchup's supposed to be like. You're not supposed to beat me. Oh, man, the starting, and, you know, so tell me what you think. Running Fury, right, obviously provided that initial amount of burst. And, of course, as a very early competitive player, bless his soul, told me once, the health bars are not the indication for who's ahead, right? And it makes a lot of sense. Once you start playing Blade and Soul at this particular level, you really start to understand that the health bars are not necessarily who says who's ahead, right? It's all about resources, it's your cooldowns, it's the scenario, the positioning. And in that case, the positioning was fantastic for Ikeni. He was able to close gaps, keep Gold Haho in range. I think he played that out really well.
Especially since he knew it was coming, right? He didn't summon his thrall at the beginning. Usually, in most times, because destroyers are forced into, or rather backed off into a corner in this matchup, they'll be running persistence because if they use that escape in Gus, they're pretty much left out to dry and just get absolutely obliterated, as we've seen. And that's why if the Warlock knows he's running Fury, he's gonna go for the thrall kill once again. He just waited it out, played it patiently, forced that escape out of his opponent, and then proceeded to summon the thrall and get, or rather make sure he gets the use off of the time warp, which then guaranteed him the win eventually. So really well played by Akini, but this is what matters most. In the next 3 versus 3, are Guardians going to close it out, or can OUO finally turn it around?
Mm-hmm. And the two matches that mean the most, Guardian has the buffer. They can lose one of the 3v3s and it'll still be okay. But OUO needs to win both of them. And currently their track record is not looking good. I don't know if there's any element of, any degree of tilt going on here. I don't know if the team is kind of sitting in silence or kind of really hyped up and discussing their options and just still in it. But we'll see.
And I'm definitely excited, as I don't expect a Guardian to not put the Bears up front. Whereas for OUO, who would you rather have as their starter once again? Should they put up Lori on that summoner?
I think that, so I'm not too familiar with Lori as a player. I don't know how familiar Lori is with other classes, with other characters. I definitely think it's worth investigating a separate strategy, especially at this point in the tournament match when it's proven to not work and you don't have many other options, right? It all depends on how confident you are. Do you think you can run your current lineup? Do you still think there are options for you to play out? And we'll have to see. It looks like, okay,
it's actually both destroyers as their respective starters, and we'll see Ember Stomps, Body Slams, and just all around knockdowns going through. And so far, no real advantage gained off of both of these players. Just one gust expended for Gold Hao, so he will not have that tab escape ready just yet.
He actually, Gold Hao had a really well-timed backstep that avoided the jump days from the side of Guardian, and I think that was the key that really put a stop to the pressure. Oh, they're both flame wheeling in, and that provides actually the split second later allowed Vape to get in there.
And now that the both of them are actually just spinning away with a Typhoon. Somebody needs to stop him. Just assist. Come on. And with that, actually,
he's nearly done. He's got so little health left. They're both standing in their Ember Stomps. They don't want anything to happen right now. The Lightning Slash was thrown out there to try to see what he could get. But it looks like just going to back away, and Vape is very brave. He's staying in there. He's holding his shield up, just staying in. Procs it. Just going to delay for as much time as he can. That was clearly dangerous. Look how really just got caught.
Oh, but gets caught, and with that still manages to get out in the nick of time, but wasted a lot of his HP, and with that, the Bears is now forced to fight his respective opponent. Gets the webbing at the very least for now, puts up the mine, follows it up with a CC. Lightning strikes through, does manage to get a bit of damage in, but still could potentially look really bad for the summoner.
Now, this is an interesting situation because you see both Guardian and OUO have members that are pretty low on health and have expended quite a few cooldowns. We'll have to see who can really take advantage of the scenario here. Sitting in the Pedal Storm is going to give him a little bit of regen, and that adds up to a lot over time.
And on the side of the Bears, he got a bit of health back as well. We've seen yesterday how Team Bad Intentions use Time Warp to actually heal the Sin back up, but so far, again, with the assists coming in,
Kenny is trying to make some plays here. He popped the cooldown reset, but didn't really. I don't think he particularly achieved much out of it. Definitely did not get the big explosion that he was looking for. We're back into a situation where Gold Hao is being sent in against the Bears.
And Gold Hao does at the very least have way more health to work with compared to his counterpart, and so far still holding up with the Typhoon popping.
I think the Bear spent a lot of resources to get in, but instead just got greeted by the Flame. Oh my god, the Flame Spin has to spend the Tab Escape, and that's a situation that works out real well for Gold Hao.
And the problem is he couldn't use that Lotus escape, and as a result now, once that runs out, he's in big trouble. Gold Haha, all he needs is one catch, and with one potential assist coming in on both sides, it's going to be really tricky. But the swap does come through. Destroyer in Vape gonna be the choice for the blue team here, and he's gonna be able to at the very least heal back up nicely all the way to 40%. So we have both Destroyers up and ready to go once again.
Oh my god, look at them. They're just watching each other. None of them are brave enough to start the fight. They're just yelling obscenities at each other from across the arena.
It's a showdown. It's a high noon showdown.
Uh-oh, here it comes. He's swinging his axe. He's coming. Oh my god, they do it again! And this time he backstepped, but it turns out a little differently for Vape this time. And Gold How is almost about to start something, but using the shield and backing away is going to keep them safe.
But the spins continue through. That Typhoon is going to be used in return as well, but Vape is going to still be dropping really low. Stone Shield coming in for Gold How as well. Is the follow-up there? Gus was at the very least forced.
What a good series of plays there for Vape to get him out of that scenario. He was able to get the safe tag out. And now Cassius is in and he's looking to make plays on somebody. He has a lot of cooldowns in the pocket here. The roll. And the Sanctuary down is going to give him a little bit of safety. Trying to push him out of it. He might do so successfully, but no. I think it's going to be a tough spot here. A lot of time lost on the court. I'm sure. And there it is. He pops it.
Oh. And now with the Time Warp being used, he's going to try to go for the air combo, but how much damage can he do? Answer is quite a lot, but not quite enough just yet, though. And with that, still, Gases could be in big trouble as he's still getting more airtime, getting extremely low.
He's dead. I think I blinked. I blinked and he died. Oh, and he's still, are you kidding? He still wants more. How many bullets does this guy have in his gun? He's just shooting people, taking them down one by one. Oh my god, I bet he's having fun.
Oh yeah, and with that, Bear's now coming back in and gonna try and get a kill onto the Sudden Center, or at least set one up. And so far, not looking too good for Lori, but does have the Petal Storm still down. Stone Shield was used by Baby, so Chris is still gonna be able to potentially get something now that he's still in stealth. So we'll see the swap back.
Give him the knee. Let's see what the follow-up is. The shield poke, everybody's jumping into this fight. They all want to get some of that Gold How action. Gonna back away here, and here comes the flame. Pressure on Kenny, who has really flexed some muscles in this match. Gave Guardian a lot of space to work with. Gold How is trying to run. The Thrall is sitting and waiting. There's a reflex roll. Here comes the Thrall. I think he's gonna look to make something happen, but I don't think he quite got the catch.
Was there, but it's not quite enough. Oh, it's coming through, but the Time Warp is gonna go through.
He sends it into the air. Oh no, Brunch! Oh
his god, his health, it's no more. And with that, the last final swap for Cassius potentially here, as he's extremely low. He's almost gone for it. He's done. And with that, one final member standing for OUO.
Talk about a Warlock that is just pressing buttons, having fun, doing some damage. The Destroyer was trying to run away, and you knew Gold How knew what was coming, right? He tried to distance himself away, but he just couldn't stop the onslaught that he hitting from the debris. There was some fury, some rage that was ignited within the heart of that little tiny Warlock after the first 1v1 loss, and now he's out for revenge. Oh man!
Oh yeah, and that just goes to show why in the current meta, if you will, the current God comp does involve one Warlock, of course. And with that, even though we see Vape get down to about 40%, just 1 versus 3 is gonna be an extremely tough hill to climb here for the Summoner as he gets destroyed. Never mind, closes it out with the help of the Bears.
There it is, and that seals the deal. Guardian will knock OUO down to the losers bracket. That's insane. That's awesome. Oh my god, this tournament. And you know, looking at the standings, we talked about this quite a few times. Hurricane top seed, OUO second seed, and at this point Guardian just blew past both of them. They might just take the tournament win. They might be the winners.
At this point, beating both Hurricane and OU, as you mentioned, is just they're the obvious choice. And of course, with this win, they will be moving on to the finals here potentially. And it's just absolutely amazing to see such amazing plays overall, because OUO had their moments, had some really good showing in a few particular areas. But with that being said, still Guardian performing exceptionally well. And with that, once again, a lot is on the line here for all of these teams. First prize will be $1,200 alongside 220 fighting points, which are really important towards making sure they get to qualify for the LAN tournaments that are upcoming, for the wild card, as well as the regional tournament finals, to then go ahead and represent North America at the World Championship. So again, Guardians just doing so well. And if they snatch that first place finish with those 220 fighting points, they can definitely get that first place in the standings.
Yeah, absolutely. So the tournament is unfolding now, and we're getting towards the final moments of it too. So again, we talked a little bit about compositions. What do you think is the best way to push past a player on the side of Guardian, like Ikenny on Warlock? How do you provide yourself some consistent options to fight against that damage output and the control that they have over the match? What do you even do?
It just really depends on what your team is built with. So if you have something along the lines of a destroyer or potentially a KFM, they can push a Warlock out of his time warp or out of his element. Of course, getting the Warlock during that time warp or after a leech in the air is what can be detrimental towards making sure he doesn't get that damage off. And of course, if you have a Sin, you can have some other fancy plays available to you with Ice Mines and other tools, or just make sure, okay, we can't get past the Warlock just yet, but if we get a good catch onto one of the other members, get an advantage in terms of resources. So it really just depends on compositions as well as just the players themselves, how they play and how well they can play around the opposition.
Yeah, and we'll have to see that kind of play out in the later moments of this tournament, because somebody's going to have to run it back against Guardian at this point. Hurricane must face OUO in the losers bracket at some point, and I wonder how that's going to go. When has the last time these two teams been matched up against each other is a curiosity for me, because definitely what it seems like right now is Guardian is a team to beat. And it's just everybody else struggling to kind of, figure out what to do. Yes, keeping up.
And so far, it's hard for me to really honestly say who would be the team that could come back and upset them. Even though, of course, just looking at the straw polls that the viewers have voted in, they still believe Hurricane has what it takes to make it out of the losers bracket and get the win in the end. So there's still some hope for Hurricane. As said, on the other side of the spectrum, we see, of course, Flicker lose to them, unfortunately, for that respective team. And as a result, Hurricane now facing off against OUO have a little more prep time. They've seen how they play on stream just now, most likely, too. So they might be able to expect a few of the strategies that they've used previously and play around them. So most likely, we'll see more angry Red Destroyer action coming out of OUO. And for the side of Hurricane, again, they're running the current meta God comp, if you will. They have a summoner, or rather, they have an assassin, a blade dancer, and a warlock. And warlocks, as we've seen, can do insane amount of damage. Blade dancers can come in as a savior with that Maelstrom and play extremely aggressive, get some Phantom Grips as well going in, which will help out dish a lot of damage too. And then you add on top of that the assassin with their respective stall potential and utilities. It's just going to be absolutely dangerous, extremely dangerous for OUO.
Yes. Now the big difference here for Guardian is that they're running the summoner, and you talked a little bit about that, right? The warlock summoner dynamic and how they kind of fill somewhat the same roles in some situations. How do you think that matchup against Blade Dancer is, kind of looking at the two different compositions? Obviously, Guardian took a win off of Hurricane with that difference. What do you think that might have been, and what leans people towards picking a Blade Dancer over a Summoner in this particular case?
A Warlock over a Summoner, you mean?
Well, so comparing Guardian's lineup with Hurricane's
Okay.
lineup, right? The big difference is the fact that Guardian has a Summoner and Hurricane has a Blade Dancer, right? So I'm just kind of thinking about what are the advantages you gain of that? What was Guardian able to leverage to give them the win against Hurricane in this scenario for just looking at the compositions?
That's the problem. That's why it's such a big upset, because it's hard to see outside of just outplay for the most part in terms of how they actually did it, because on paper the options that a team like Hurricane has should be enough to bring them out on top in that particular matchup. So it's a really tough one, but it might have been down to the Destroyer rather than anything. That could have tilted the matchup in their favor. We've seen how dangerous Destroyers can be. Even yesterday, players like Mr. Dude that I have mentioned before just dished out insane amounts of damage, and Stone Shield now being also available with a party defensive option makes it so that they can come in, make sure they keep their teammates safe, and as well as just stall out a lot for their respective teammates to make sure they get their cooldowns back or their HP back, whatever it is that they may need. So that's one of the big things that might be the big determination factor.
And do you think Hurricane has a flexibility to try to change up their composition options if they can't deal with this Destroyer, Assassin, Warlock composition that is heading at them?
That is one good question, because these not only is the composition on paper exceptional, these three players have played these classes as their mains throughout their history. So they're very comfortable with them. They're exceptional at them, and they've proven in the previous Rumble in the Realms, Yasuni and Virus respectively, what they can do on those Warlocks and Assassins and how devastating they can be. And as a result, personally, not really sure if they can bring out anything special or anything that would surprise Guardian, but since they will have to face OUO first, they still have to go through that test. And as a result, I would expect them to play safe and to play to their strengths with their current lineup of Sin, Blade Dancer, Warlock.
Lots of thoughts, lots of supposition, but of course we won't know what actually happens until that matchup actually occurs. And we don't even know if Hurricane's going to move on. Maybe OUO is going to upset Hurricane. Maybe it's Hurricane's tournament to just keep losing to these top four teams here. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. Coming into the scene fairly fresh now, because I've taken a long time away from the game. It's interesting to see how these players have developed, right? Virus, obviously a very old player, right? He's been around for a very long time. Was very successful early on. And I distinctly remember before Assassins, it was tough to utilize them until a few patches later after the release in North America. And that's when Virus really started kind of stepping up and having to kind of be fighting in those finals of the tournaments now. And now he's on the top seeded team, but still having trouble, still having to put in the work. You know what I mean? It feels like Virus has always had to struggle really hard. And in the end, sometimes that hard work pays off and he's able to take a tournament win. But it's never been kind of a blowout in the same sense as maybe a tournament where a player like Red Eyes might have done, right? Where Red Eyes just seems to be rolling over people. In the end, a win is a win, right? It doesn't really matter how you get there. But I think it's interesting to think, like, this is not necessarily out of Virus's element, right? Like, he might be just used to this. He might be used to the grind.
And we will find out shortly who the victor will be. But in the meantime, we will be moving on to a break. But make sure you follow BNS Esports on Twitter for all of the great Blade and Soul Esports related news. A lot of cool stuff coming, especially with the aforementioned LAN tournament. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the Blade and Soul Season 1 North American Invitational. My name is Bruins, joined again, of course, by Rady, as we will move on to the second match of tonight. It will be OUO versus Hurricane.
OUO versus Hurricane, and the way this tournament has been unfolding is super interesting. The two top-seeded teams now on the bottom end of the bracket, having to fight out against the opportunity to go up against Guardian, who has taken the nice, comfortable seat on the throne, just waiting for their opponent there in the winners bracket. So they're going to have a lot of time to kind of rest up, prep, talk about what they want to do, and really observe the two teams that are playing this round and figure out how they want to take the victory, right? How are you going to play against whoever wins? You can see what the quirks are. You can see what the compositions are. You can be very well prepared if you're on the winners end of the bracket. So I think Guardian is in a really good spot.
And not only that, but they've already proven themselves against both of these teams. They knocked Hurricane down into the losers bracket, and now previously, of course, also OUO. So they've already defeated them before. All they need right now is to gather a little bit more information, get prepped up, make sure they are ready to go once they have their opponents selected. So for now, they're going to be just chilling, whereas for OUO and Hurricane, now is the time where Hurricane needs to prove themselves. They need to show us why we all had them as as our favorites. Because again, exceptional players, exceptional composition, but can they also deliver?
Definitely the big question here. Now, this is a very important tournament, correct, Bruins, because they're going to be building not only towards the prize pool, but also fighting points. There's a lot to look forward to. What is kind of the big thing for these players to aspire to, and what does winning first place here mean for the teams moving forward in the North American esports structure?
Of course, as you can see on your screen, not only is the cash prize important, but also those fighting points. They need to also prove themselves and gather as much of those precious fighting points to make sure they are on top of the standings. And of course, if they've proven themselves to get a first place finish in this respective tournament, then they should definitely be more comfortable going into the LAN tournaments coming up in the near future, of course. And with that, that is going to be the moment where they can finally prove themselves truly who is going to be the best and who can actually represent North America at the World Championship. So as you can see on your screen, it is going to be OUO versus Hurricane, Sunshower Virus, and Yis or Yasuni for Hurricane, and OUO, once again, Cassis, Gold, Hao, and Lori Sao.
And we already got to see what OUO has to offer, and it might be a little tough to make any kind of suppositions based off that performance, because it just really seemed like Guardian was going to town. I think, now that I think about it, they only won a single 1v1. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
They got beat down. They got beat down. Oh my gosh. But that's no knock to OUO. Guardian has some very strong players, and evidently they have an incredible Warlock player on their team, and so you can't really expect yourself to, unless you find like a good solid strategy to rely on, you can't really expect to have such a good score against them. But we'll see how they hold up against Hurricane, the first seed team going against seed number 2 in a losers bracket. Whoever loses this is out of the tournament. Gold Hao up against Virus as the first matchup. Virus, a player that we talked about a little bit, old school, but still making it happen. Smoke Bomb and Flower being spent already. And Gold Hao is using a lot of CC and has to use Ember Stomp as well. You don't want to do that. That's not good. Do not get parried. That's the number one way to lose.
No. The Ching's coming through, and the tab escape was forced as a result. This is Gold Hao's time to shine, as his opponent's left out of defenses while he still has his up and ready to go. So at this point, it's up to Gold Hao to seal the deal.
He's got the grab. He's getting the resources, and now he's gonna slam Virus. Let's see what the options are. Gets the jumps done. Oh my! Clicking his buttons. That mouse must be real well used. Gets knocked back on the fire spin. He didn't have more to follow up.
Interesting choice to go for the Typhoon. Not sure if he misused some of his aggressive options there, but now being knocked up in the air and with the extra time given up for Virus means he has a lot more room to work with, and with that, he will manage to force the tab escape out of his opponent.
Be careful. It looks like some pressure being put on by Virus here, but the Destroyer can still be very dangerous. You need to watch out for any moment of opportunity for counterattack. Ember Stomp comes down, tries to use a Vortex, but Virus smartly getting out of there, and I think he might have restabilized the situation. Still not the easiest, but your options are available. You have your tab escape. There's a good swap, and I think Virus is making it happen.
Of course, now that Gus is still on cooldown, I'm not sure if Persistence is back up, but this could look really, really bad for the Destroyer here. It does have, at the very least, that Tap Escape. Once again, available. Virus, making sure he plays as safely as possible, does not want to overextend his welcome.
Here it comes. It looks like back into the neutral. Tries to use the Vortex, but misses it. And the backstep being used up as well. Virus might be looking for some strong options here. Dodges away from the jump. But still no CC being laid down.
And time is running out, so at this point, both of these players need to make sure they do as much damage or close out here and now, because soon enough, it's going to come down to how much damage did both of these players do. And at this point, sitting in the Ember Stomp, Gold Haha still looking for a kill.
Shuriken is set up. There's a jump. And the Mine gets the knockdown. He avoids, but no CC, and dodges a Vortex again. Virus has time and time again gotten away with that. Of course, time running out.
No escapes left for the Assassin. Means that one more catch is going to be potentially good enough for the Destroyer, and that could be
it. No! He got countered! He pops the blue! Oh my god! Virus is having to scramble. He gets kneed up and gets stunned! Is it enough? There's 2 seconds left! Oh no! Oh! I'm pretty sure that sealed the deal. I'm fairly sure that sealed the deal. He is at 1% health. Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
This would have been very tragic.
It was only by that much. Oh my god, that has to be. That is so close. Oh my god.
Yep, that hurts. That's the big thing. Virus was so close. By a hair, just managed, Golden Haha managed to get the necessary catch at the end to make sure he dishes out that little bit of extra damage, because that's the problem with this matchup. Even though it looked somewhat similar in terms of HP pools, the Destroyer manages to sustain more with that Stone Shield most of the time, and that's why it can be a little bit deceiving, if you will, and Virus did have a small damage advantage up until that last point.
The last point was it, when he just landed CC. I think you hit the nail on the head. Used all his escapes. If he got caught, it was bad. It was bad news, and he did. And just the 1 second of the Destroyer beating up on him was enough to push him over the edge. Now, I know previously, Assassin versus Destroyer matchups, at least back in my day, right? The Destroyer versus Assassin matchups always came down to some Assassins chose to use Ice Mine for that reason, right? They would really want to just delay the match, and honestly, it really feels like some of your strategy as an Assassin against a Destroyer should be just to time out the game, right? Never commit to anything dangerous. You know they have Tab Escape. You know they have blue buff, so it's really hard to kind of make sure you're safe when you're attacking. So they would just go for chip damage and stall. Is that something that Virus should have gone for in this scenario?
The problem with that strategy right now is the fact that the Ice Mine also received the nerf, as well as some of the other abilities for the Assassin, like High Wire. All of these different forms of crowd control are not as forgiving in terms of usage anymore, because you have to wait it out longer if you mess it up. And with the knockdown mine, it definitely helps out a lot in this particular matchup, because the Destroyers are more vulnerable when knocked down. So you definitely still want to go for that most of the time. But with that being said, once again, it will be 1 point up for OUO for now, but Hurricane still has a lot of space to work with.
Definitely. So OUO takes the first win, but this is nothing new. I believe that's what happened in the previous series, right? They got the first win and then they just lost everything else. I can't remember if it was the first or the second 1v1, but this definitely sets the tone. And winning the first two 1v1s can really change the pace of the game here. So it's going to be Cassis versus Sven Shower. Let me read that name. Blade Dancer versus Blade Master. Oh, he misses the grip. That's huge. Good dodge from Cassis.
And even at this point, just using so many defensives on both sides means that Sunshower could be in potentially big danger. Now getting pulled. The dragon took damage, just absolutely obliterating Sunshower there.
He's just standing in it. He's just letting it tick away. There's no catch. But Tab Escape's still available, as well as Cassis still has his Blade Call, so it could almost be dangerous for the Blade Dancer to go for the grab, because if he gets knocked away, that can be a guaranteed combo here. Nice knockdown. Gets the grab and tosses him immediately. Does not want to get hit by the Blade Call. I think the Blade Dancer has...
Escape,
Yep.
actually. And
He's
with
definitely
that
taking control of the scenario again.
could be really dangerous. The Hangman block is gonna heal the Blade Master back up just a bit. Cassis does have a little more room to work with. Strafe's coming through, but we'll get the advantage. Sunshower is still building up a lot of time. We'll have that Guardian Tempest soon enough. And at this point, you see Cassis strafe around, gets a good catch, but
he's dead, I think.
And with the draw, no Tab Escape available for the Blade Master.
Oh,
he's gonna get knocked up into the air, and the instant turnaround.
Yeah,
Sunshower.
We talked about it. You don't want to be giving your opponent free CC like that. And especially when your Tab Escape is down, that is the classic tried and true Blade Dancer hits you in the face with a huge lightning draw, and then it's all over, and caught the air combo right at the perfect time, finished it out. Beautiful. That was so cool. That was so good. That was so great for the Blade Dancer. And he played out that middle portion of the game really well when he was trying to delay and keep himself from getting caught a second time, grabbing and instantly throwing away, as well as timing the sword barrier to make sure that he didn't get caught by anything random. And I think he played out the neutral really well and bought himself the time enough to turn the situation around.
And it was looking really grim for him, because at the start, having to use that second wind so quickly means that he had to basically just hang on to dear life using Maelstrom and everything in his arsenal at his disposal to make sure he, at the very least, can have the option of surviving till it comes back up. So exceptionally well done by the Blade Dancer here, making sure he equalizes the series so far 1-1. And it's been an absolute blast so far, Rainy.
Yeah, these matches have been super exciting, and I really like to see some of the outcome of some of these 1v1 duels too. I mean, we just had the one with Virus where he just barely lost, and then now the Blade Dancer with a comeback. Absolutely crazy. But we'll see moving forward how this will unfold. There's still many opportunities for these teams to fight back, and we're going to see our first 3v3, which, as you mentioned, is very important in this mix and match format.
Oh, yeah. And once again, I do want to mention the fact that if you want to keep up with any Blade and Soul esports news, make sure you follow BNS Esports on Twitter for all that good stuff. Of course, as mentioned time and time again, there will be actual LAN tournaments with the wildcard tournament for EU coming up next, actually in Leicester. So definitely make sure you check it out. Maybe you can come and have a seat and watch for yourself all of the amazing Blade and Soul action. But as said, for now, we're going to move on to the 3v3 matchup. And as their respective starters, I would expect on the side of Hurricane to set Virus forth as their first pick. Whereas for OUO, most likely we might actually have another look at Gold How coming up first.
Yeah, I'm really looking. Well, actually, I think Gold How definitely made a big stand when he first came in the match against Guardian. But this time around, a different set of matchups, different scenario. He wasn't sent out in the 1v1. Instead, now he's going to be showing off in the 3v3. I wonder how he feels about the particular matchups. It definitely looked like he had a hard time against the Warlock, and his first win was very much a circumstantial. He really played very well in that scenario. But he couldn't make it happen the next two times, and I have to wonder if there's any kind of pressure in this scenario, because there's definitely, I mean, he's just playing a Warlock in this 3v3, right? So.
Oh, and he actually tags in with the assist, tries to knock Yasuni or Yas out of that Sanctum, doesn't manage to do it just yet, and as a result, Yas still having Troll up. It's going to look for a lot of damage potentially on Lori Sao.
Doing actually a good bit of trading with the Warlock here, but it's going to come down to who grabs the first CC and how the tags play out. Cooldown reset being popped down here, but it doesn't look like they quite got a good catch here. But anything can happen with a Warlock. Oh, and he's connecting big now. That's where he connects. Oh my god, so much health lost already, and Lori needs to get out of there.
And he does just so. Now we'll see the Blade Master matchup, or rather Blade Master matchup versus Virus, and at this point, the Summoner will at the very least be able to sustain back up, but he really needs to be careful and make sure once he goes in for the assist or tags in that he will not get caught, because he can die in an instant at that point.
Virus in play right now. And they're really just stalling and spacing out. Just waiting for cooldowns to come back up. And this definitely favors a Warlock as well, because getting the cooldown reset really is the difference between being able to blow your opponents up in one go or having to struggle and kind of constantly fight to gain your momentum.
And so far, Cass is still trying to go aggressive and gets webbed up in return after that knockup, but actually uses the tab escape and goes for a knockup himself, but no assist coming in just yet. Now finally, can they do anything off of it? Pellstorm is down, somehow back up, but
man.
Cass is...
That was so much damage put out. That was a huge play on the side of Hurricane, but we'll see if they can keep it up. Here comes old Gold How is trying to make something happen here.
Virus extremely low, forced to tag out, swap out with Sunshower for now, but exceptionally well done by Lori, making sure he also got in to not only save his teammate, but gain some of that HP back.
Interesting. So it looks like, Penta is going to put him into the air again. And the Blade Call as well to push the tag away.
So far, not too much gain on either side. Sunshower will have the Guardian Tempest back up, and now we'll go with the Blade Jaw, but can he do anything off of it? Seems like not quite anything just yet. Time Warp actually being used to heal Sunshower back up, resetting that Guardian Tempest cooldown.
Gets this resummon on the cat as well, so that's going to be a good kind of tempo reset there for OUO. We'll see. Lands good CC. There's a tab escape. Ember Stomp was avoiding the CC there. Big plays from Gold How. Pulled out a lot of resources, and now he's just waiting.
And yes, it's going to be, again, the choice for Team Hurricane as this matchup, as we've said time and time again, historically known to be in favor of the Warlock, but see what Yis can do as Gold How goes in with the knee, does follow it up.
Oh, this is a real bad spot. The Sanctuary comes down. He's trying to knock him out. Can you push him out of the Sanctuary? That's going to be super important. Otherwise, he's just going to be sitting here. And, oh, here comes a Thrall.
And with the Thrall being out, a lot of options on the table for Yis, but we will see Gold How run away, try to play it as safe as possible. Doesn't get the catch quite just there, and as a result, the swap did go through on that Summoner, but he's not done quite just yet. Gets the air launch and quite a bit of damage in.
He didn't quite get maximum damage, was only able to get kind of the smallest amount of poke that you can earn off of that. And that's going to be kind of a loss for Izuna, I feel like. But we'll see how he plays out the neutral. He's definitely not in danger quite yet. He has options available for him. And he still has the option to tag away.
And at this point, considering how low Virus is, he might just come back in for a very safe play with the heal off of the Time Warp, or just for a supportive assist on the kill. And with the Leech going through, untappable at that, makes sure that Cass is going to take a lot of damage. Time Warp does go through, but the assist and the help and the tag makes sure that Yis will not gain any kills off of it. Still, we'll try to do as much damage into this OUO lineup as possible.
And again, it just seems like, so the interesting thing is when we watched Ikeni in this very similar situation, Ikeni was just pushing health bars, but it seems difficult for Hurricane to do the same here. Grab.
Now with the grip, can they set up a potential kill here with the air launch? A lot of damage gonna go through for Gold How, and where's your HP bar? It's gone, but still alive for now. Desperately tries to stay alive with the Searing Strikes and just barely manages to do so.
What a beautiful setup. Had the grab, sent him into the air. Warlock came through. Was just able to do so much there. Here's the tag out.
Lori still, at the very least, will be able to sustain back up just a bit. We'll have some of that heal, some of that stalling potential. And with that, Virus might be in trouble. Relatively low in terms of his respective HP pool as well.
They're running really low on tag resources, really on the side of OUO. Only Gold How has a tag out. Virus has one, and Yiz has one. And the only person who can assist is a Blade Dancer.
And we'll see. That's the most important one, because having Maelstrom available can definitely make sure his teammates get saved up, but a lot of damage actually gotta go through onto Lori, dropping him already down to 50% HP. Should be able to stabilize things, but still gonna be rough on both ends.
It looks like the Summoner's trying to put out some pressure here onto Virus. We'll see. He's trying to hide in his smoke bomb, and now he needs to commit to something, and does successfully get himself into stealth. There's a trip.
And
that causes someone to use an escape.
And that could be the opening he's looking for, because without that escape, with the lack of potential good assists coming through, means that Lori might be in big danger. And now with the commitment to putting Sun Shower in, they need to do something.
Yep. Oh, he gets a huge lightning draw. There it is. Oh, man. And what a good spend of the last assist there for Hurricane. And that's going to really put them in a good spot now. 2v3 is always incredibly difficult, especially if you play the situation out really well. And Iz still has a tag out, so they still can leverage good momentum here. And if they catch OUO in a bad spot, can really guarantee their win. But here comes some pressure. We'll see what happens. Oh, no.
Food was used.
All right, he's trying to back away, create some space. Wasn't quite able to set up CC, but he was just doing damage to face. Who needs CC?
Not when he can do face damage, but for now, Cass is still trying to do something. But at this point, it's such a huge monumental task ahead of him, as all of these healthy team members of Hurricane will be looking poised to take another win here.
Yep. And this is important, right? The 3v3. Oh, man. We talked about the 3v3 being such an important match, and it looks like Hurricane is able to take it. So that's good, right? That's definitely good, and we're gonna have a pretty back and forth match as this cleans up. But I'd be interested to see how the points breakdown works. Basically, I'm feeling that it's gonna need to go to set 6 and set 7 for both teams. I feel like they might need to, if the 1v1 still continue to go in favor of OUO, it could end up in a scenario where just set 6 is required to win. So it's going to be important for Hurricane to start thinking about how to buy back their wins in 1v1.
And I believe if they get a win here, because we're getting ahead of ourselves, who knows, maybe Gold How How is the hero OUO needs, but at this point, not looking very likely. Very hard
my god.
The flashy late draw finish.
Yeah. Yeah, we all know how much damage that thing does. On knockdown, as you're falling down, you're considered knocked down right at the point where you get close to the floor, and you can get that guaranteed hit on the lightning draw. So very nicely done. Hurricane are able to get 2 points on the board for themselves, winning that all-important 3v3 match, and that changes the dynamic of the match here. We'll see. It's going to be very close. And still the question in my mind is, no matter which team moves on, you still have to face Guardian. And they're watching, right? They're watching you. And they know what your lines of play are, what your options are going to be, how you like to use your assists, how you like to tag out. And that might be the edge they'll earn to try to take the first place win. But how do you feel Hurricane and OUO are playing so far? Do you think that they can overcome the challenge that is Guardian?
At this point, it's really difficult to tell. The one good thing for Hurricane, at the very least, is the fact that once when they did get knocked down to the losers bracket, it was not a 7-set mix and match setup. That is only reserved for the semis and grand finals. So that could be the one most important factor in making sure that they actually get the advantage and edge they need to get a win over Guardian. But at this point, it's really difficult to tell, as we should go on shortly into the next 1v1, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the last final members with Gold How How for OUO, if I recall correctly. And for the lineup of Hurricane, it should be Yes, I believe.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, they haven't fielded the Warlock yet. It was Assassin, then Blade Dancer.
Oh, it's Lori, actually, left.
Lori.
All right.
Okay.
So it's Lori versus Summoner versus Warlock. And over on the EU side of things, small shout out to Tenna. He has been very vocal when it comes to how much he dislikes this particular matchup as a Warlock. But we'll find out who can come out on top.
It's a tough matchup. These range matchups get real strange, I feel like. It was true in the case of Force Masters for much of the time as well before. So it's definitely not your standard quote-unquote game of PvP, if you will. But we'll see how these options play out. Thrall is on the field, plus a Sanctuary. He gets some CC. Ooh. He's going for it. He's going for it. There's a rollout. And pushes him out of stealth. Pushes him out of stealth. He's going. Here's a second jump. And he has to use a swap. But so much health loss. I mean, look at the health. Lori's just gone. Oh, my God. Okay. All right.
Well, that just happened. That's done and
Yeah.
over with.
You know, I've decided I'm playing my Warlock again. I'm gonna get a keyboard with buttons that are this big per key. I'm just gonna open palm, smack my keyboard, and see how that works out for me. Not that was how that match played out, but it seems like at least if that could happen at the most competitive level, I might be pretty successful down at the bronze level here. So,
oh, maybe you can make an all-star caster team with Gummy. Who knows?
yeah, an all-star caster team. Hey, Gummy's pretty sick. Gummy's actually pretty good. He's pretty good.
And with that being said, it does make it so that Hurricane will lead the charge with 4 points at this moment, I believe, earning the previous 1 point off of Sunshower's victory, 2 points off of the 3v3, and now with Yis getting an edge here means that they will be up 4 points. So now that you've had all of the different 1v1s displayed, who would you send out if you are OUO?
I would send out, oh, excuse me, I just knocked my mic and killed everybody's ears. I would send out, if I was OUO, so personally, I would want to see Cassis because I just like Blade Master, right? I think Blade Masters are so cool. So that's what I would go with personally. But on the other hand, it's hard. It's definitely difficult. I want to see the Blade Master be very successful, so that's what I would do.
Well, we will find out shortly. I do believe it will be Yis versus Gold How. So it's going to be a Warlock v Destroyer matchup. And knowing Gold How and his previous adaptation to this particular lineup, or rather matchup, he's probably going to be angry again and go face.
He's probably going to be very mad. I wouldn't doubt that. People can be very, very mad when they play the Destroyer class, and that often benefits their gameplay more than hurts.
Especially once you do go with that Fury and you're red and mash that left and right click, of course.
Yeah, that left and right click is definitely important. You can't use an Apple mouse, right? Because they only have the left click, so you got to make sure you get both for PC, only for PC. All right.
And Typhoon already being used by Gold How, trying to do something. Yasuni, of course, knowing that the Fury is probably the option, is going to try and go aggressive. Doesn't have the Thrall summon just yet.
This could be really bad. He spent his tab escape, and Gold How is just mad. He's not playing carefully. He doesn't have any more CC breaks. We'll see. He gets knocked down. Ember Stomp is going to... that's an interesting trade.
But
Thrall's dead.
Thrall...
Yeah, so that was really great for Gold How, actually, how that scenario played out.
But will it be enough? Oh, the parry could have been there, but Gold How still going to drop extremely low. Does have the Gust coming up relatively back soon, and now going to try to go aggressive. Gets the tech chase.
He's not pressing it enough. Finally, he had to suck down more than half his health before he was like, okay, I'll escape. Oh my god. Gotta respect the damage. And just as I say that, return fire onto Gold How, and this is always the most difficult part about this matchup, is once you're done with your combo and your CC and you're put into neutral, the Warlock just returns fire with so much damage of his own, and he doesn't even need to CC you, and there it is, he closes it out. We see it again, Brunch.
Oh man, and that's the problem when you run Fury in this matchup. Without having that second option in persistence in that blue buff for a second escape, if you get caught, that could be it. And once Yis got his pet out the second time with that Thralls, it was pretty much over at that point.
Yeah. A really interesting trade on the first one, especially when Time Warp came out, and then the Ember Stop was on top of it. And Gold How was more than fine to just, all right, I'm just going to beat up on the Thrall now, right? And that was actually really good. But then, as you said, the delay up until the point where the second Thrall came out became very uncontrollable. I think it's really interesting, too. Yiz knew very well how that circumstance was going to play out, and so he just waited on his escape, just made sure that Gold How had to use extra resources there to try to go for more damage. But Yiz knew that he wasn't going to die, and the following scenario that would come of it, he would be able to close it out. So, really good.
Definitely. And now that we will move on once again to the free versus free matchups, this is OUO's last chance. They need to win this one to make sure they stay in the tournament, because at this point, Hurricane is up 5-1. If they win the next free versus free, that's it. They move on to the finals to start facing up Guardian once again. And as said, the big thing here for them is the fact that they're going to have the 7-set mix and matchup format available this time around compared to the 4-set mix and match setup.
Very true. Very true. Right. So that's a good point, right? Earlier on in the bracket, when they were knocked down by Guardian, they were only playing the 4-set. So the interactions and the opportunities to play out against your opponents were much fewer. That'll be interesting to see. And definitely Hurricane, I think, has been ramping up, right? I feel like they've been more and more convincing with each set. So I don't know.
Well, we'll see and find out shortly if they can keep that momentum going, as round should start up soon. But in the meantime, I'll mention once again what all these players are fighting for, and that is a lot of cash prize. Cash prizes. First place will get $1,200, and alongside that amazing cash prize, they will be getting 220 fighting points. But so do the rest of the top 4 teams, with second place grabbing 150 fighting points, third place 90 fighting points, and finally fourth 50 fighting points respectively. And with all those fighting points, they will all try to make sure they solidify their current standing in the leaderboards for that all too important qualifier process towards that regional finals.
So here we go. This could be the end of OUO right here. Flame Wheel, as Yis tries to make something happen, gets to deflect and causes the escape to be spent here. And that's gonna, he gets a stun on it. Somebody help the man, help him. It looks like he does get the assistance he needs. Time warp being spent.
With the time warp, though, is it going to be enough? Some potential saves can go live here for both, but no. Gold How opts to just straight up step out and let Lori Sao take his place.
There it is, and we'll see if what Yis decides to play out the situation, how he decides to do that. It looks like it's going to be a tag, and I think that that's the right choice.
And so far, actually going through with it, we'll be able to continue spinning around. Does have the Guardian Tempest, and with the draw, he's going to be able to do quite a lot of damage, but is it going to be enough to get a substantial advantage here?
Oh my god, that was a huge chunk out on that assist. Oh man, and it looks like Lori has to take a back seat in this scenario after taking so much damage.
Now we're going to have the Warlock face off against the Blade Master, and with Yis fighting Cassis, it's going to be really curious to see if Cassis can.
Oh, he goes for the cheeky days on the blade call there. Doesn't quite get it.
Does have the tab escape at the very least still available if need be, and the Thrall being back up as well as all the different cooldowns for the Warlock, Cassis could still be in big trouble. And with the leech ladder.
No! Oh my god! It's just dropping so fast. 50% damage into Cassis already. And Yis still has a ton of health on his own.
And now with the time warp, ton of damage. Maybe you haven't seen enough of it just yet, as he doesn't overextend, doesn't get any substantial big hit there, but at the very least will be able to sustain back up to full HP.
I think it was a very smart tag out. Put in the Destroyer, knows he has the iframe options to survive that period of time, at least in terms of cooldown spending. May not have been the most efficient, but definitely better than just straight getting blown up, right?
And so far, still, Gold How is going to try and go in. The dodge is actually the Phantom Grip, so it's pretty big, as Sunchar with that particular ability would be able to set up a potential kill or just straight up a lot of damage onto Gold How. But with that Stone Shield, it's going to be good. Going to heal Gold How back up just a bit. But Sunshower still has a lot on his tool belt.
Oh man, he just used a ton of cooldowns into the Stone Shield there. Goes for the Flame Wheel. Gets the Axe Toss. The Tab Escape is spent on the Blade Dancer's side. And Gold How I feel like is playing actually that particular matchup against a Blade Dancer, he played really well. I think he gained a lot of advantages and tempo for his team. But he still has to worry all this time. Yiz is just sitting in the back line. Now, he doesn't have a tag, so Virus has the opportunity to tag into Yiz, but there's not any opportunity for Yiz, aside from assists, to really stand and be an anchor for the team. Once he's in, he's committed.
And here's the question. Will they try to potentially then make it so that they swap out Virus and potentially make sure he gets a fighting spirit instead of that Lotus for a kill setup? But so far, still gonna be in it, still gonna be in the fight, does have that escape, will be forced to use it actually, and as a result, Cassis is in for OUO. But the time warp, actually, as you said, is there. Is it gonna be used effectively? So far, not too likely.
Doesn't look like they got a lot of benefit off of that, but Virus is actually getting some CC here. He's gonna make a little bit happen, and Cassis is just trying to get out of dodge.
And especially with Lori tagging in, Virus just says nope, gets out of there. Make sure he gets to re-stealth and stay safe for a while longer. But again, on the resources side of things, it is going to be favored on the side of Hurricane. So if they can keep it up, they should definitely be able to close this one out eventually.
Now they just at a standstill, delaying for cooldowns, I expect. Virus still has attacks, and there's a lot of assists left on both teams, actually. The spread is a little better for Hurricane in terms of resources to be able to spend. Each member has a tag out, and every member has at least an assist. Whereas the resources are definitely skewed on the side of Hurricane. Oh, gets stunned on the roll. There's a tab escape being spent here. Danger Town for Cassis, and will opt to actually just spend the tag out.
Oh, but Gold How same strategy once again, instantly blows up the Thrall and says nope once again to Suni's or Yis's Thrall, and with that, can he do something off of it with the tag-ins coming in? Both assists are good, but no real damage gain on both ends means that Stone Shield will be proc, tries to go back in, but doesn't do anything else just yet.
The big thing here for me, he's going to get a little bit of damage here, and that's going to start things off for Yiz. But the big thing here is the Destroyer does have the option to tag out, and we know that this matchup is kind of tough for him against the Warlock, but he has the option to tag out of there and get a second set of cooldowns from his teammates, which might be the difference maker, but he might be in trouble. You really have to avoid the combo. Do not get sent into the air, because that's doom. The time warp.
But the time warp.
He's got Ember Stomp.
But is it going to be enough? That is the question.
Yeah, he might just go phase. He's got shield. He's got shield. And there's a tag out immediately afterwards. Oh, man, that was so dangerous.
And now coming in with the doom and gloom, we'll see Lori try to apply a bit of pressure on Yiz, as he will have that for all timeout shortly. He is actually also extremely low on health still, as Golden How will be curious to see if he's going to change to persistence, but now trying to go for the catch with the familiar. Sanctum is back up. A lot of those defensive cooldowns not really on the table here for Yiz.
Just smacking the cat with his cards, with his talismans there. We'll see. Yiz is kind of being pushed into the back corner, and I think he just got swapped out by time. So now it's going to be Virus here. And Virus still has another tag out. So they still have flexibility.
But with the stall potential of the Summoner, as said, maybe, just maybe, they can somehow turn things to their advantage. But actually, familiar damage was quite good from the side of Virus. Cassis will be the one to swap in. On the side of OUO, we'll try to go and do some magic with those Flock of Blades, but
yeah,
still,
he tried to go for a play. He definitely tried to go for a play with a Flock, but he missed the catch on the stealth and couldn't really quite connect on Virus. And now he gets a stun, but it gets turned around on him, and he has his he has his tab escape, but really risky.
And nicely done by Virus to make sure he plays it safe, knows that his opponent was in big trouble, and an assist had to come in. And at this point, Cassis, without a potential assist option available, means that he's in huge trouble.
Oh, he knocks down the Destroyer! And they get the double knockdown too, and they both spend info. Oh my god, what a disaster! Oh man! And now Cassis is left all on his lonesome, no tab escape. But we'll see. He's trying to get some CC here, and we'll see if any kind of assist comes in. Hurricane has a lot of assists on their end of the table. And I think this might be the end for Cass as he spends his next tab escape, and there's still no option to tag out. I don't know how long the timeout is, but he goes down. Oh no, and it looks like UOU might just be eliminated from the tournament in this particular set.
Ooh, Virus gets the web again. It's not over just yet. It does seem as if he did go for the persistence this time around, and now with the Ember Stomp, he'll be able to stay safe for a while longer. But yes, being the one in for the side of Hurricane, might be able to just turn this matchup at least up his head. And so far, with the Sanctum, with the Fall, is gonna force Gold Haha out of the action, and still running desperately for his life. Is gonna get hit, but not quite good enough for Yes. And now with the turnaround, is this gonna be it?
Oh, that was a huge X. Did so much damage, but you're... Oh no! It looked like it was going so well, but in the end, it was just a trap. And now the Destroyer is dead too. Oh man. Just tumbling in the air.
Laurie with his carry pants, does he have what it takes? Actually, taking Yes really, really low, but even if he gets this particular kill, it's still really, difficult.
The power of the sun, Brunch. He's calling the power of the sun. I bet you this guy lives in California, because those were some insane sunflowers. We'll get him the kill, but there's still such a long road ahead of him.
And the Familiar is even gonna go down. It's just Team Hurricane making sure they take down all of the members, and Sunshout instantly blowing his opponent up with that draw. And valiant effort coming out of OUO, but in the end, Hurricane close it out.
Oh man. Oh, you know, OUO fought out really well. And in the end, Hurricane were able to defeat them, and that just goes to show the consistency of the first seed team. So we're moving on to this situation where we now have to watch the run back between Guardian and Hurricane. And I talked about this right from the outset, right? When you're in this situation, the team on the winner's side of the bracket has a much better position just because of the winner's reset. Right? If Hurricane can defeat them in this first match, that means all sets, and they actually take the match win. They have to do that again. It basically resets, so they have to do that twice in a row. There's so many opportunities for Guardian to adapt and fight back and try things even. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough.
Most surely, especially since, as we've said previously, Guardian just had the luxury and advantage of just sitting back, being relaxed, calming their nerves, or calming their just themselves in general, and making sure they get a little bit more intel on Hurricane and their play style. And as a result, they're definitely at this point the favorites to win it all.
Mm-hmm. And they're finally at the end of the bracket here. Look at all the teams that were eliminated right from the start. So many active teams in North America. It's groups of 3 players, Brunch. It's great. I love it.
Absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to see more. But in the meantime, of course, if you wish to keep up with all of the amazing Blade and Soul Esports action, make sure you follow the official BNS Esports Twitter. That's at BNS Esports. And in the meantime, we'll be moving again to a short break, but don't go anywhere. You definitely don't want to miss up on that next matchup. And welcome back once again to the Blade and Soul Season 1 North American Invitational. My name is Brunch, joined by Rainy, and so far it's been an absolutely amazing tournament, and we are well on our way to what could very well be the final match of the night, Rainy.
Mm-hmm. It could end here, or Hurricane could reset it and they'll play again, and then it'll definitely end at that point. But some crazy things have happened in this tournament so far. Guardian making a run, an incredible run, staying in the winner's side of the bracket, and then Hurricane being knocked out to the loser's bracket very early on, but still holding strong, maintain their consistency, and demonstrating why they are still the first seed. I would not be surprised if they were able to win and reset the bracket. If they can win the second one, though, that's champion status right there. Being able to do that really solidifies you as one of the most consistent teams in North America, and they would definitely deserve the win. But we'll see. Guardian seems like they're a very, very well set up, very coordinated, strong team here, and they know what they're doing. They know how they want to win, and they're doing it.
And not only that, but if Hurricane can bring it back at this point, the fact that they've been so stalwart and just not being persuaded, or rather tilted, or just, tournament fatigue is actually a thing. So having to play that much or that many more matches compared to the side of Guardian means that if they somehow win this next match and then can also on top of that win another match, a 7-set mixed match, then that's just, at that point, you cannot doubt them and cannot doubt the fact that Team Hurricane are indeed the number one seed of North America.
These players have been playing all day, every day. They've just been at it. They've been competing, and now we're finally at the top 2 teams left in the tournament. Of course, when they win, they're going to get fighting points, and that's going to mean implications for all the other cool stuff that's going to come down the pipeline for North American Blade and Soul Esports, as well as Europe on the other end. But specifically for these guys, because they're in the North American region. Let's see. I think we're about to jump into the game here, and it's going to be the 1v1 now. Very important, particularly if you're able to take the first 2 wins in 1v1. That's going to help your team out a lot. And let's see, starting out real aggressive is Shower, Blade Dancer. And the Bears trying to get some kind of... Oh, he gets away with a get up. Oh, and he dodges a kick. This is so good for the Blade Dancer here.
Especially since no Lotus was available during the Phantom Grid, means that the Bears is in big trouble. Now being forced to use that escape means that he's gonna be left out of options. Tab escape is still available for Sunshower, so if he gets a good catch off of it, that could be detrimental. But at this point, using it to get a daze, but Smoke Bomb was there for the Bears.
Oh, he gets a shield. Oh my god, everything is going right, and I think this could be the end. Lightning Draw is still on cooldown for a little bit, so he's gonna have to rely on air combos here. But he actually messes up, tries to go for the Vortex, and DeBears dodges, and what a lost opportunity. Finally gets control of the situation. He's just going to let the drop happen because he needs more chi. But let's see.
If the Bears can somehow now, at this point, regain control of this matchup, this could be really bad for Sunshower. He still has that second win on cooldown. Can he survive until he's back up? Seems like he can, and the Bears might have just done it. Gets the swap, but doesn't get anything else just yet. Guardian Tempest will keep him safe from the mine.
What an interesting interaction. Couldn't quite finish out the kill on the Blade Dancer, and the Tab Escape is available now, so this is a very, very tough spot for DeBears. Of course, he has Flower that just got spent, and if Showers can play, and he's gonna, he gets blinded up, actually. This is really dangerous. His Tab Escape is the most important cooldown right now. Doesn't spend it. There it is!
The Poison Breath actually gets a lot of HP, but he gets it, and can he secure the kill? Air combo is good, but will it be enough?
He needs just a little bit more. Oh, he tries to go for the dive. He tried for the dive. Gets the grab. Oh my god, what? What a way to end the game. He pressed the dive button. Oh my god.
Man, that was so close, especially since Sunshower wanted to play that more safe and making sure, okay, I will definitely get to launch my opponent in the air. I'm not extending my welcome here, but after that air combo, he didn't quite have enough. However, still had what it takes to get that first round win. But oh man, was that so close.
What a match. The opening was so strong for SVN Shower. He was actually just dominating, avoiding abilities, playing out the ground game. The fact that he got away with the get up there, and that provides CC immunity after a certain point, was actually so important, because DeBears actually threw out a bunch of cooldowns into that, and then the backstep avoided more CC. I believe it was a lightning kick, and immediately SVN Shower responded with the grab. Just so much pressure coming out of the Blade Dancer, and I think that really aided him in making sure he was well positioned, that he ate a combo from the Assassin, was still able to survive, and was just in a good spot.
And coming up next, it will be Vape versus Virus. So that's going to be another interesting one. Assassin versus Destroyer. I do believe we've seen this matchup tonight previously with Guardian versus OUO. No, my bad. That was from the other side of the spectrum. But still, again, Destroyer versus Sin. Both of these classes have the option of getting 2 different escape tools. But the question is, will the Destroyer, in this case Vape, go for Fury?
That's always a question for Destroyers. Are you going to go red or are you going to go blue? Which do you pick, right? What's your favorite color? I think that there are definitely benefits for both. Typically, I feel like Destroyers default to just sitting on blue and being pretty happy about that. But sometimes you can get the cheap win here and there, and it looks like he does go blue. So,
and I was about to say that Virus could go for Fighting Spirit himself for that extra damage, but does have the Lotus, of course, available. The interesting thing is, however, Tab Escape already used by Virus, so this could be really bad.
Gets into a somewhat awkward situation. And just a lot of kiting here. And this is the kind of matchup we talked a little bit about, the Assassin versus Destroyer matchup, where the Assassin might just focus on stalling out the game. It was a good dodge from Virus there.
And with that dodge, this could be enough to buy himself a lot of time. Forces that reflex roll, and now does have the smoke bomb. Oh, doesn't get the pull. And as a result, Virus should have bought himself enough time to stabilize here.
Oh, the blue buff gets popped, and Virus is trying to run. He's trying to get out of this situation. Doesn't get the stealth. He has the flower down. Oh, goes for the mine, but gets invuled on it. And that's a lot of pressure. The roll, knockdown. Uses a tab escape off of it immediately. This could be a bad situation. Uses the flower to get out. Yep.
And with that flower, it's going to keep him safe. Does go for that smoke bomb. Once again, Ember Stomp is going to time out for the Destroyer. And I do believe Vape does not have persistence back up just yet. Does use that Searing Strike into SS. Now Typhoons preemptively, making sure he doesn't get caught just yet. But this is a really close one.
Oh no! Oh my god, he came in at just the wrong time. And now it's Vape's combo to play. He gets a stun, and now the Daze is just doing a lot of damage. Tab Escape coming up barely in time. And Vape is going to answer with his own Tab Escape here, which I think might have been a little too eager. He still has blue coming up because it's been a long enough time that he's just got that cooldown up again. And Virus has to know to respect that.
And it was really well played by Virus to actually manage to dodge a crowd control off of that Tab Escape, off of that Gust. But now with the grab, he is going to be launched up into the air. Does have the flower, but so is the Ember Stomp down. And
no.
Oh, that was so close to being really, really bad. But Typhoon knocks him away, and will it be enough? Gets the follow-up, but the Tab Escape was there. And now with the return Tab Escape, he does use the reflex roll. Good catch, but can Virus still close it out? No, Stone Shield is going to be their grapple.
How much CC does he have left? He's going for the slam. There it is. Wow. And ending the game with a pile driver. And he didn't even have to use a second blue buff. Had such good control over the entirety of the match that he was able to just play out nice and safe. And his aggression really extended his opportunities to kind of just delay and delay and delay. And by the time Virus got any kind of other pressure, the Tab Escape was up again already.
And that just played it out beautifully for the Destroyer here. Vape making sure he gets the win in the end. But that does bring us to a 1-1 tie, I believe. And with that, we will go forth into the first 3 versus 3 matchup between these two teams. And here's where it really matters. Here's where both of these teams need to get those wins, especially Hurricane, because as we've mentioned before, since the tournament is double elimination format, if Guardians lose this whole match, the 7th set, they still have another shot at winning the whole thing. Whereas for Team Hurricane, if they lose this match, it's over. Get second place.
Absolutely. Now, what's interesting is in neither of these situations have we had a 1v1 scenario go both in the first few games to one team. And that actually changes the dynamic of how the points work out in a significant manner, right? Because then you're setting yourself up for a situation where you can maybe guarantee that you can end the game at set number 6 despite what your opponent does. We haven't quite seen that scenario yet. So we're just going to be at a 1-1 in terms of points. The 3v3 is going to give 2 points to one team or the other, and that sets them up for a very comfortable spot. Is it going to be Guardian? Is it going to be Hurricane? We'll have to see. So far, I feel like I'm really liking the way that Vape is playing, and we, of course, haven't really seen Ikeni play, but we know that he's a big asset to have in 3v3. It's just something that I think really helps Guardian. How will Yis compare? I feel like looking at the 2 Warlocks is going to be really key in this matchup here.
And the one interesting thing to consider as well is the fact that Guardian haven't shied away from using Vape in the opener, actually, for the 3 versus 3, which is normally unconventional. You want to see the Bears open it up, or maybe Ikeni generally speaking, because Vape does have that option of saving a teammate with the Stone Shield. But they've done it before, so it could still happen.
Yeah, and it's very real. But we'll see. We talked a little bit about the difference in lineups here. Of course, the Bears on Assassin, Ikini on Warlock, and Vape on Destroyer as a 3v3 team. And then over on the other side for Hurricane, they've got Virus on Assassin, they've got SV and Shower on Blade Dancer, and Yis on Warlock. What do you think the key plays are for these two teams that might be different because of the different class choices that can give them the edge?
For both of these teams, because they have the Warlock as their main focus, it's up to what surrounds the said Warlock to determine the win here, and what can make sure that the Warlock gets propelled for or assisted accordingly to get the damage in off of an air combo, off of a grip. And since both of the teams have both options available, it's going to come down to the small player, individual player choices.
All right, we'll see. Looks like Da Bears up against Yis right at the start. Some CC is being spent here. Position swap and Smoke Bomb is being used. Da Bears just dropped a lot of resources here and just used his kick into the block.
But now, actually, with the Leech, it's going to force the Bears to use his Lotus Escape, but gets launched up into the air. And the assist coming in through Vape, saving his teammate for now. And Yis actually taking some punishment in return.
Oh, was able to roll back into the time work, and that's actually really key there. That he didn't roll away, but rolled back into it. But not able to really connect. That was a really, really good trade, actually, for Guardian.
And that's why we will be seeing a few tag outs coming in on both sides. It will be Sunshower up against the Warlock of the side of Guardian. And now we'll see the Leech come through, launched up into the air with their time warp of their own. Can't they do anything off of it? Runs desperately away so far. Not really too much gain on either side for those time warps.
There's a lot of resources to spend here in terms of tags and assists, so it's going to be hard to really lock down a player. And you can bet that these teams are going to spend their resources wisely and try to play passively when their cooldowns are up. And so it's going to take a few repetitions of this before they really start chunking down, unless a big mistake occurs.
But Ikini now still going to be able to stay safe, and with the help of the Destroyer, maybe they can do enough damage here. Fall should time out relatively soon on the side of Hurricane, but now the swap coming in. The Bears is the choice for the side of Guardian. With that, gonna be looking to set up a potential kill on Yis, as Yis most likely will tag out very shortly.
Just sitting in the back here, and Da Bears just does not want to mess with any kind of Sanctuary play. And the instant the Thrall comes out, again, just wasting more and more time. The Bears is really trying to measure his approach very carefully. But here comes Yis pushing in. He knows he wants to make something happen, and now forces the issue. The Bears has to go in, and he's trying to get away. Uses a Lightning Strike as well.
And with the Lightning Strike, he does manage to build enough space in between these two players. But still, now Yis gonna have the Thrall back up again. Very well done by the Bears to play around that Thrall, which will time out shortly. And as a result, maybe just maybe we'll have a good enough of an opening. But Yis still stays in, doesn't tag out even at this point.
Oh, has to use a tag to help, and actually sends the Bears into the air. This could be really dangerous. Let's see what the follow-up is. Destroyer comes in to try to help out that scenario. But that could have been a really bad trade.
And once again, the Stone Shield save says nope to what could have been disastrous for the side of Guardian. And at this point, Virus is going to tag in for the red team. And with that, he's going to set his sights on the Bears, who is forced to tag out. And now we will see Vape fight off against the Assassin, and with the Flower being down with a lot of defensive cooldowns available, it could be dangerous. But now, even with the Smoke Bomb, Virus still taking quite a bit of punishment, but not enough.
The cooldown trades were relatively good for Vape there, but definitely the fact that Virus is able to just kite away is really helpful. Now, the fact that they both have Warlock means that they're both kind of charging up some big laser bombs, right? So either way, it's going to be beneficial. It just is a matter of who runs out of resources first, and who gets caught out by too much CC.
And at this point, Vape still manages to stay up for now. Does have to use that fall, but this could be really dangerous. Stone Shield is going to keep him safe.
Nice response. They tried to assist in to help out, but that shield would just mitigated so much, and the assist is basically wasted. And now Vape can continue his 1v1 against Virus, which I would say has been going relatively successful for him.
He has been able to stay stable during the neutral game, and now is going to try to go and get knocked down by the mine.
He lets him just stand up. And this could be really bad for Virus in just a bit. He still has 2 tag outs, so should be fine on that front. But oh no! He tries to pick him up, but the tab escape. The tab escape was used.
That is really important because usually you want to use your Lotus at most for that grip instead. But so far now, following it up with a Typhoon, Vape just trying to build as much of a resource advantage for his team once again.
Just could not get anything started. And Virus just tags out for Shower. So BD is in now.
But his opponent is going to change as well for now. We will see Akini swap back in. He does have all of his cooldowns readied up and available. Should go for a false summon shortly. But the 5-point strike is going to connect.
Man.
And with the tag in, is this going to be enough? Ooh, Akini really, really low. But the save coming out of the Bears is going to be enough. But he's quite low himself.
Yeah, such a good response. Really mitigated a lot of damage, but still a good chunk of health for Hurricane onto Guardian. Those are the kinds of opportunities you need. The parry stun off into the Penta to put him in the air. That's really where most of the danger is, right? Because once you're sent into the air, you don't have the option for any kind of retaliation. Your teammate has to come in and do his best to save you. That's really the only way to get out of that scenario.
And at this point, he is definitely having a big advantage in this particular matchup. We'll be looking to do a lot off of the leech.
No!
And is that it?
He's trying to get the cooldown reset. He gets out. Just barely. And now he's putting punishment out onto Vape. That was a huge play. Good deflect. Started up a lot for Yiz. And he's taking full advantage right now. But I think his time might be coming short to a close here. We'll see. Just trying to do a bunch of face damage while jumping around.
When now assists coming in on both sides, and with the time warp being used, is this going to be the key turnaround here for Team Guardian as they're still in it? The Typhoon is rolling out. Virus, though, will be able to make it out.
It just seems like the execution on the side of Hurricane has been much more clean overall, but now assists are far and few in between. Ikeni still has 2, and that's a big one. The Warlock assist allows you to do huge amounts of damage, so the fact that that's still an available resource for the side of Guardian is really great. Meanwhile, over on the other side, we see a very much the same situation, except Virus has 1 extra tag, and that comes from Virus playing really careful, really measured. He's not spending his resources sloppily. He's always making sure that when he comes in, it's impactful, right?
And
so
now
he's been able to preserve.
Both assists come through, but once again, nothing really big gain out of it. And as we are into late game, this could be really bad for the Bears. Actually webbed up into the air in this time.
He lets him drop, uses a mine, but the roll is still successful. They got the extra assist from the time running out. Running down.
The time warp though.
We'll see if anything comes of it.
It was not really successful for the most part, and still the Bears is very dangerously low. Will be almost killed here by Virus, but with the bombardment still going through, this is really bad.
Oh no, he's stunned up! Somebody save him! He's just being webbed up by Virus right now. Oh, but Virus gets thrown into the air. And the Bears is still just standing there. He doesn't have an option to tag out, so this is do or die right now for him. Only assists can help him.
But at the very least, he did have his cooldowns reset with that respective tag in. However, resource advantage heavily favoring the side of Hurricane. And with that, the Bears desperately is trying to stay alive at this point, but he's just very rapidly running out of options.
Oh my god. He was able to time himself out and finally tagged in Vape, and that's going to let the Bears live to see another day. Oh man, what an intense situation. Expensive. Had to use
even through Typhoon actually manages to follow it up, and with that would have been so close to actually landing a kill there for Guardian, but luckily for Sunshower, was able to stay alive with the help of his teammate.
Vape even opted to spend blue to try to make sure he didn't get caught by any kind of CC on the assists. but he wasn't able to put out aggressive pressure with it. So now his blue is down. Ooh, the
Oh.
time warp. Let's see what happens here.
Will it actually pay off? As so far, actually, the swap coming back in, the Bears being the one to take the
dead.
punishment.
Somebody
But the
kill him.
turnaround still,
What?
though, the Bears is not down. He's not out of it just yet. Finally gets taken out.
God.
But will that actually be a worthy sacrifice that could leave Guardian in a win? But the grapple being good with the Phantom Grip is definitely not looking good for them.
It's so interesting, that outcome. They're definitely fighting against the clock here. They need to make something happen before cooldowns come back up. Oh man, and Vape is going for it. He's trying to do the fire spin. He gets it. He gets the cross kill, and now we're back into a 2v2 situation.
And it's 14 seconds left, Rainy. It's up to damage at this point.
Oh no, we've seen this happen before in this very matchup. Hurricane versus Guardian, the 1v1, the first 1v1 that came out. It came down to the wire, and in the end, he's popping blue buff. Oh no, the score. Oh man.
Did Guardian actually do the unthinkable here?
Please.
They
did it again!
They did it! They got it! They
Oh my
actually
God.
did it!
That one drop, oh my God, when Da Bears was about to get destroyed there, the fact that they were able to turn around damage was actually so important, because then they were able to play out in this situation where they could make the cross kill happen, and momentum was on the side of Guardian, and that little bit, again, that little tiny bit was what allowed them to eke out the set win. I can't.
It's I'm at a loss for words, because it's so rare that a team can come back and stabilize from getting one team member killed off. But that's what I absolutely loved about their decision there. They saw that, okay, I'm still safe for an extra while, Vape that is, with the Stone Shield proc, but the time warp was used so that Sunchar gets his cooldowns back. So what do? They swap in the Bears instantly. They get as much spent out of Hurricane as possible. And okay, the Bears goes down, but in return, he gets a lot of cooldown spent and some damage, which in the end seemed to be more than enough.
Mm-hmm. The fact that Hurricane had to play so defensively because they spent so much trying to finish off the Bears, and that just slight lack of damage made all the difference, meant that Hurricane overextended just a little bit too much and weren't able to play aggressively when they probably should have, and lost out in the damage race. So Guardian is now 3 points up to Hurricane's 1. I can't believe it. Guardian might be able to do this. Now, of course, this means that it basically comes down to set 6, right? When you're at 3 points, you either have to win set 6 plus the 3v3 if Hurricane wins both the 2v2s, right? Or if you win even a single, or both the 1v1s, sorry. But if Guardian wins even a single 1v1 matchup here, then set 6 is it. That's their game to close it all out and put Hurricane in second place in this tournament. So this is really important right now. Of course, it's coming up to the third one. So who are the players left here that Hurricane and Guardian can field?
Well, I have a question for you, Rainy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like Wizard battles?
Do I like Wizard battles? I've always, from being a child, I've always wanted to be a wizard.
Well,
please.
You're in for a treat, because we have a Warlock mirror matchup coming up next. And we haven't really seen mirror matchups, but this can be interesting and can also be done with in a split second as well.
Yeah, it could just, okay, you have to tell me when you're about to blink so that I can hold my eyes open. And then when you're done blinking, I'll choose to blink and you hold your eyes open so we won't miss a single thing. That's the plan. All right?
All right.
I'm ready for this matchup. I'm ready for this.
As said, a lot of cash prize as well as fighting points are on the line. As you can see potentially on your screen in a second, first prize takes home $1,200 as well as 220 fighting points, which could potentially mean that Guardians will eke out another advantage to crawl their way towards that first position in the standings. So this is very important to both of these teams, but especially so for Team Guardian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. We'll see. I think that it's very important to kind of tournament days are it's down to how you're playing that day, right? So sometimes you can be a little bit on the other end. Sometimes you can be feeling good, and it seems like Guardian is hitting that kind of momentum here.
And he is playing super aggressive, does connect with the Tether Blade forced Akini to use his escape, but of course, a lot of options on both ends as Yiz is trying to go for some amount of damage on Akini as well.
It doesn't seem like it did too much here, but they're going to trade jumps, and they both roll back. Oh my god, if this wasn't a mirror match, I don't know what is. He gets a stun! Oh no, and it looks like Kenny is being put into trouble! He might just die here! Oh no, is he gonna get sent up again? Oh, don't blink! Please don't blink. And here comes the counterattack, trying to get something going.
And with the time warp coming in,
this is
still disastrous for Ikeni, as still alive for now, but this is gonna be extremely difficult for him to get back into this.
Is definitely not an even trade. Gets a stun on the deflect, but it doesn't look like Ikeni really cares here. What is the momentum that I'm seeing? It looks like I think Yiz is just trying to go for face damage here, and he might be able to do it. One more Dragon Call. There it is. Man, that opener was so good for Yiz that Ikeni was so far behind, he just couldn't really stand his ground. And when you're both range classes, like the threat range is so far that you just kind of have to deal with it, right?
And that's the thing as well with all of the Warlock tools like Helix, etc., piercing through the parry and a lot of defensives. It's just not gonna be enough if you don't have Bastion to just block away all that damage. It's just gonna go through when you're that low in terms of HP value. So unfortunately for Ikeni, not going to be the victor this time around, but since both of the teams can put forward any of their members for the 1v1, now that you've seen it all happen so far, who would you like to see go up against each other, Rainy?
Well, they've definitely won. So I would say go with one of the players that has actually won a 1v1, right? So either go for Shower or go for Yiz, right? Because they're definitely able to hold their own in this scenario, and I think that it's not any knock on Virus, because I think it is a situation where you can get into some really weird situations that Destroyer matchup is not necessarily the simplest to navigate, right? You're constantly having to play across a long period of time. Maybe the Warlock matchup is a little more tough just because, I mean, we just saw the mirror match, right? It can go real weighted towards one side or the other, so perhaps Shower is your most consistent pick here, and you're going to want to go with the BD matchup.
It's going to be interesting to see, of course, now that it seems as if it's going to be Yiz for Hurricane and actually Vape for Guardian. So taking that into consideration, not sure if Vape is going to go for the Fury and same strategy in terms of just, okay, let me try and kill the Thrall and kill the Warlock afterwards, or if he's going to try and play it safe with persistence this time around.
So we'll see. This is a very important set for Hurricane. If they're able to win this, then they're able to extend their life in kind of set 6 and set 7 and give themselves the extra chance to drop a 3-3 set and still not lose the match. So they really need to be looking to win this 1v1. Very important. Of course, for the opposite reason, Guardian needs to be looking to put a stop to this kind of pressure that Hurricane is putting on. Now, remember, right, we're talking all this in-depth kind of, you got to calculate the sets to do this, and you still have to win, and you're struggling. If Hurricane win, they have to do this again. They still have to do it again. While on Guardian's side, if they're able to successfully eke out a win, get that one round win, and then put it to set 6 and just close out set 6, all of a sudden, you're done, you know? You've won the tournament, so just a step away from Guardian. Whereas I feel like Hurricane still has to, maybe take an Uber down the street or something like that. I don't know. They still have a little way to go.
They still definitely have a long way to go if they are to win the tournament. But as said, this is a very important match coming up next for Guardian, because as you mentioned, take into consideration that if they win this one and win the upcoming 3 versus 3, they're first place victors. Hurricane are under a lot of pressure, and yes, especially since he also has the matchup advantage, a lot rests on his shoulders. So hopefully he can keep his calm, keep his composure, and make the best out of it in this next set.
Oh man, I don't even know. Who do you even think is gonna win? I have no idea how to pick.
Well,
let's see.
It's gonna come down to keeping his calm, making sure he plays around all the different options, and it is persistence this time for Vape.
Yes. Oh, good chase down. And that's gonna pop the escape there for the Warlock. And it looks like we were debating which they were going to pull out, and they are going for that Warlock pick. And I actually like this because we talked about the Destroyer Warlock matchup, so Hurricane might have made the right read here, but we'll see what Vape can get started.
So far, seemingly not too much, but Leech is still an option for Yis, which can prompt a lot of damage coming Vape's way. But so far, without Gust being available for Vape, he might be in a lot of trouble, already dropping down to 30%.
No. Now, the big thing is if Vape survives this, he does have a window of time where he might be able to make something happen. Blue buff gets popped. It might be now. There's a roll. Can he catch it? What does he have left? He needs to make it. He gets the stun again. There's a jump. There's no reflex roll. As much damage as he can, but there's only
no
have blue buff.
For Yes.
This is it. I don't even think he has a roll anymore. Gets the re-knockdown. Oh, no.
This could be it, but no.
Don't let him get away. He's summoning the Thrall. Oh, fire spin, but it gets interrupted. He gets down on Ember Stomp, and he needs to mitigate. He puts him into the pile driver. Just a little bit more to go. The escape is being spent and Sanctuary is being spent. And now Vape is in a situation where he just has to back away. Shield gets procced. Gets the stun.
Oh, he still has the shield. At least the pet swap, I believe, went through. But, oh man, this is so close. Yes, needs to get this win. Vape, though, still getting launched by the pet. Gets caught by the Q. Is it going to be enough?
Oh, he's just recovered from CC Flame Wheel, but this doesn't catch anything. And now that iframe is gone and the backstep is gone, but Vape needs to buy time for more cooldowns. His tab escape is coming up, but largely irrelevant at this level of health. I think the shield pop is going to be super important for Vape here. Let's see, he's trying to back away. There's a shield. He's healing up as much as he can, but now with the Thrall out, I don't know, Brunch. Oh, no!
Up, Brady! And that is big trouble for Vape. But still playing it safe, does have that Ember Stomp, and will it be enough? Time is running low as well. This is so close, it's really tough to call. Thrall, not that much left up as well. He does use that Gust, but goes into the Typhoon. Is this it? Is this gonna be it? Thrall is still there, so if he can come in close, might just be good enough. But no, it's timed out, and with that, can Vape finally do it?
It might be up to how much face damage you can get at this point. The healing is great, but at the end of the day, when the counter hits, it's just about damage done. You don't want to die by being too aggressive trying to build your numbers. Oh, he gets stopped in midair by the stone proc. Oh, nice counter. Sends him into the air. That might be it. That might be a little bit of damage he needs, and now Vape has to go. I feel like he's just behind in damage. That huge train of moves there from Yis, I think, might have just closed it out, and there it is.
Oh, it even does so before the time. Beautifully done by Yis. And the problem for Vape was, as you mentioned, since he regained so much HP with that Stone Shield, if he didn't get a turnaround kill there, there was no way he would actually win the round in damage. So really well done by Yis or Yasuni in the end to actually get another win, and more importantly, make it so that Guardian need to win both of the next 3 versus 3 to actually finish the match.
Yep. So it's gonna. This is a really, really close match here. I believe the points are 3 and 4. Is that correct? 3 and 3. 3 and 3. Right, because they've only won 3 1v1. So this is going to set 7. This has to go to set 7. And more importantly, the 7th set, I should clarify, is the most important one. Because whoever wins set 6, it kind of doesn't matter unless you're talking about something like momentum and mental fortitude. Set 6 is okay. Set 7 is the important one because that's the one that's going to award you 3 points, giving you the 6 that you need to win. Right? If you win set 6, you're just getting 2 points, and that'll put you up to 5, and you have to win set 7 anyways. So these teams have to take a little bit of time and consider what is their path forward and how are they going to stop this momentum for Guardian that Hurricane has built up, and how is Hurricane going to continue and figure out what they need to do in the 3v3, because that's still the thing that they haven't figured out. Their 1v1s were much better the second time around, but the 3v3.
And you bring up a very interesting point, and that is the fact that both of these teams don't really care as much if they lose the next 3 versus 3. And here comes the question. Do they play more reserved? Do they not show their hand just yet with this next round? Or do they just go all out, try and get an advantage here and just snowball off of it, just like you said? So it's going to be interesting. But again, in the meantime, make sure you follow BNS Esports on Twitter. That's BNS Esports for all of the news, as well as future updates for upcoming tournaments and the winner interviews. All of the winner interviews will be posted online. So if you want to hear about what Bad Intentions on EU has to say and what the North American team will have to say, definitely make sure to check it out. But I think we're ready to go, Rainy.
All right. Into the 3v3 here. And of course, this is almost like them just getting a feel, just warming up, right?
Oh, yeah. And so far, it is going to be Yes actually already using that time warp. And the Bears being launched up into the air. No save coming in through. But with the smoke bomb and everything there, you should be able to stabilize.
Did push him out of stealth, but it looks like Bears was able to gain that up pretty quick here and does land the stun. That's going to give him a little bit of an opportunity to get something started. Reflex roll and the escape is being spent here on the side of Yis. So that's going to prompt him to tag out, and I think that's definitely the smart choice.
Ooh, and Virus here. Maybe put in trouble, but so far the Bears still doing exceptionally well, all things considered, and gets the resell for now. Flower is still available for him, and so far getting really good trades off. Doesn't get the catch with the Lightning Strike, though.
We'll see. There goes the web. He's able to pop him up and get the poison breath. Now the tag ends, and the mine was actually really well timed on the assist. That's going to give him a lot of pressure. Yep.
Time warp being used there again. Both of these teams not getting too much of an advantage off of those time warps. The Bears still really safe for now, but with the leech connected, this could be it. Air launch and bye-bye.
A huge catch there from Ikeni, or rather from Yis onto Bears. Landed a leech and was able to have that duration of time where he couldn't move. Told his thralls to jump on him, and that was beautiful execution. Closes it out.
And considering all the cooldowns, all of the HP bars on the side of Hurricane, I just cannot see how Guardian can bring it back. But as said, it's not over just yet. The final 2 remaining members are relatively healthy, but I say that.
Yep. Not anymore. Lots of damage and then the tag out to put in the Blade Dancer, and lots of defensive cooldowns to be spent here. Oh, and there it is, just over. And it's interesting to think about the first 3v3 that they played came down to the wire, right? Time ran out and it was a win by damage done by the calculation. And Guardian just barely eked out of it. So it's definitely not going the same way this time around. But in the next set, like I said, that's the one that's really important to watch out for. What is Guardian learning from this experience in terms of how aggressive Hurricane is playing and how successful they are in just reducing the numbers on the side of Guardian so early on?
And it's going to come down to who their first choice will be once again in terms of who they send out and what their game plan will be, because they definitely seem to have kind of rolled over and just died for the most part after that pretty bad opener. And as a result, like we said, this is not as important as the upcoming 3 versus 3 set, because this will determine whether or not Hurricane can bring it back and have another shot at getting that first place, or if Guardian is just going to close it out.
The opener is so important, and right now Guardian has to be thinking about, okay, these options are not likely to succeed. What is the mind game that we can play to give us the edge? How can we position ourselves better so that we can really take advantage of kind of the 3v3 scenario? I feel like so far Guardian has thrived in situations where resources are low and they're able to play out their opponent's tags and assists to a certain point. And once they play that slightly more controlled game, they're able to spend on low resources much more efficiently. Hurricane seems to have a really explosive start. They really have a lot of dangerous maneuvers and dangerous coordinated attacks onto a Guardian. Can they weather that storm? That to me is what I'm getting out of these matches here.
Especially since even though they did win that first 3v3, just like you said, it was a really, really close one. And you can really assure yourself that, yeah, we're going to recreate that once again. And with all of this pressure building up as well, it's going to be a tough one. But as I said, it's going to come down to this. So once again, we will go on to the next set, and which could very well be the final set of the night. Definitely give up your cheers for both of these teams as the round will start.
All right. Da Bears is a start, and this looks relatively the same. Oh, has to roll. Dodges away from the jump, and that's super important. Da Bears is going to gain a lot of survivability off of this. Uses the invul to try to get away from the talismans there. And Poison Breath is going to get a good amount of damage. Oh my god. He just gets chunked down. But this is just a start.
Definitely just only the start, and now going in, still has that time warp available. Actually, assist coming through, and as a result, that will prompt the time warp out of him and gets the catch actually onto the Bears.
Oh my
this could be
god.
really, really bad.
How could this be the outcome of the situation? Both assists have to be spent, and largely for nothing aggressive gained. Of course, the assist from Vape was absolutely needed to keep the Bears from just blowing up at that point in time, using the shield very smartly, but such a big win for Hurricane in that moment.
And it's really, really close. The big thing here is, at the very least, Icanium will have his respective time warp back up, and even though they can get a lot of cooldowns out of the Bears, it might not matter because he might just come in with that assist, and now launching the Bears up into the air. Instead, he will just opt into tag out, and we'll see Icanium come in.
Yeah, definitely the tag out, that situation is getting real sketchy, especially once you're in the air. There's so much damage that could potentially happen. And now we'll see what Icanium can do in this Warlock Mirror. He actually gets a deflect stun. That's going to cause the escape to be spent, and then now Yis will tag out. So it's Virus in to play. Gets the Shuriken. I wonder if he was expecting the roll. That's why he put the mine there. Either way, gets sent into the air, and now he needs some saving. Virus needs some saving right now. He's about to get obliterated.
Down
loses 60% of his health.
Oh, man. That was brutal for him, and at this point, big advantage in favor of Team Guardian, as Sunshower will tag in, but all those piercing attacks will make sure Icanium does plenty of damage on the Blade Dancer too.
All right. They back away again, and this time it's Shower. That's just in to try to play the neutral and delay. Ooh. Using a lot of iframes here. Goes for the Penta, but actually gets CC'd up on it, and now stunned up. But a good assist is going to put Genny into the air, so they couldn't really follow up on that scenario, and now a tag out into Vape.
Oh, this is going to be Destroyer versus Warlock, and yes, should have his time warp come back up already. And at this point, Ember Stomp is down, but with the Stone Shield running out soon enough, Vape could be in a very dangerous spot here.
Thrall still has a lot of time on it, and so there's a large opportunity for Yis to do something here.
Persistence actually used by the Destroyer here, and with the tag in will be the time distortion actually resetting all the different cooldowns. So will that be enough for Guardian to actually get an advantage? But now no tech chase off of it. Seeing Strikes will be good. Thrall still not going to be back up just yet, but unless Vape can do something during that time frame, it's going to be still quite a bit of a pickle.
Oh my god, the Thrall's up again, and just such a weird matchup for Vape, especially because it's not in 1v1. He can't really rush down, because if an assist comes down and he gets put into a bad spot, that matchup can turn around real quick with the Warlock and the assist beating down on you. So I think Vape backing out of that scenario is really smart. I think you may as well just use your assist and shield to help your teammates, enable them to make something happen in the matchup.
And an interesting Lotus choice here for the Bears will definitely be a curious choice, but so far, once again, yes, very well and healthy. The only one low on the side of Hurricane is gonna still be Virus, but as said, with all the different cooldowns coming back up on both ends, it's still a really tough one to call.
Some interaction here, and it looks like the Bears is trying to make something happen. Puts Shower is the air actually on the tag out, but nothing really is going to come of it. And instead, now the Bears is being put into the air combo, but the assist on Vape to help that scenario. And that's kind of what I was talking about. I think Vape can have a lot more effectiveness in this situation by using his assist, but he's now out of all of that.
Ooh, but if Ikini gets a good catch, that could be dangerous. But the instant tag out when Sunshower notices the danger of it means that Yis is going to be here to save the day for now and try to keep things alive for Hurricane.
Oh no, he pops the tether, and I think he's gonna try to make something out of it. Both time warps are being popped here. They really don't want to fall to each other's aggressive pressure here, and they're both just popping their 5-hit barriers. Finding out in the middle of the map who's gonna get the better end of this. Now there's no assists left on the side of Guardian, but there still is that potential on Hurricane's end. We'll see if they're able to use that to make a kill happen.
The longer the match goes, so far, it seems like Hurricane stabilizing things and turning it in their favor. But with Typhoon going in Vape, trying to do something. Fall did come out, however, and yes, it's gonna be relatively low. Gets grappled, actually, forced to use his escape.
Lots of options. Yep, lots of options just spent there, and he definitely wants to tag out. So he's gonna put Virus in there, and I think that's so smart. Vape was spending a lot trying to get Yis to spend so many cooldowns, and so he's going to force that tag out to happen. And Yis still has 3 assists, and we know how strong Warlock assists can be. That's a huge boon for Hurricane here.
And so far, looking actually pretty good for the Bears as well, and the side of Guardian. Not too bad. The Bears seemingly winning out so far in this mirror matchup, but that will prompt Sunshower to tag in, play along. Guardian Tempest was used. Knocks it up into the air. Is this it, Rady?
We'll see if they can connect on it. Sanctuary is down, but I don't know if that'll help. The Bears is being brought so low, and he has no tag out. So he's just in here for the rest of it. His timeout is still a minute away, and I think he's just dead. Oh, God. And Hurricane is well positioned to reset the bracket here. We'll see if Guardian can fight back.
It's going to be a monumental task as Sunshower will be brought down to 50%, but as said, this is still looking exceptionally good for them. But actually, the pile driver and the Typhoon will prompt the Guardian Tempest out of Sunshower. He still has that tab escape available if need be with the second wind, but Stone Shield will be used. Actually, the Blitz was also coming out in return. Tab escape pop, but the grapple is good, and Time Warp coming through as well. Is this gonna be enough? Guardian Tempest reset and all will be good. 5-point strike, not really gonna be able to launch his opponent up into the air. And now with the extra help, what's gonna be Sunshower? Really, really low, but this is really, really close.
Oh no. And the extra assist there in that trade just gave Hurricane a slight better position there. I think it's still very much in their reach. Cashes the roll. Oh no! And he gets the Ember Stomp down. There's no stopping the damage. He makes a cross kill happen. Not again, Brunch.
Not Guardian. Like this. Oh,
Guardian. Not like this. Guardian again from behind, making the cross kill, putting it to 2v2.
Oh man,
he's doing damage.
Vape, you monster! Just at this point, how do you even stay?
Oh my
just
God!
Not tilted as Hurricane. This is really, really bad for them. They need to still secure this win here. If they lose this set, they're out. And
he just pops blue. He's getting a lot of focus back for it. But that's definitely a big cooldown. He's gonna tag out. So he got tagged out by Time. And now the Warlock is in there. And Vape still has 1 assist left.
Oh man.
Similarly, Yis has 1.
But that could be enough because Vape gets the Stone Shield or anything else could be good enough. Of course, Time Warp is back and available. He's gonna use it. Gonna try to do something here. Gets up, gets the Q, but dodges it in the nick of time. Virus managing to play around it really well, and now with the tag in, but Virus still really, really low.
Oh, there's a CC!
But no.
Lots of pressure coming down onto Kenny, but similarly, Virus is at really low health. The assist from Vape to give him a little bit of defense, but Virus is able to sit it out in stealth.
But no break.
I think this is it. He's gonna use a break. Oh my God, this is so close. Be careful of the face damage. Time is running out. There he goes. That's 1 kill. And I think Virus might just want to focus on running away.
He definitely wants to do so, but again, you can't count Vape out just yet, even if he is the final member standing for Team Guardian.
He gets the days on the tag.
Oh man, you do have a very small window of opportunity when somebody tags in to actually land something, but with the swaps, with the tag-ins, Stone Shield is gonna be there in the nick of time, but again, can Vape do it?
It's going to be so tough. The Sanctuary down as well, and so many cooldowns being popped by Vape, and he's still taking a ton of damage here. I think Hurricane is very, very well positioned to make this win happen. He's just trying to defend himself. He gets a stun. There's a swap. He jumps on him. But sent airborne, and that's it. That's the nail in the coffin.
Oh, he's still alive. Score. Okay.
I cannot imagine.
I cannot imagine. But if they do it,
there is no way. It has to go to Hurricane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It has to go to Hurricane. Oh my god. It's incredible that they got to put themselves in that situation in the first place. Guardian was 2v3 for the longest time, and then Vape with some incredible clutch was able to bring it down to 2v2, and then they actually had to play out a real game at that point and just reinitiate and play the whole match out again. And finally, by damage calculation, Hurricane will reset the bracket. So we're going to one last match, Bringe.
Oh man, and Hurricane looking to not disappoint their fans, as again they did get the votes in and they are the tournament favorites, and just showing us again why that is. And as a result, Guardian gets so close, but not close enough to get that win. And in the meantime, we'll be going for a very short break, but don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss out on the finals, as this will be decided here and now. So stay tuned. And welcome back once again to the Blade & Soul Season 1, the North American Invitational. And now we're finally in the last match of the night, Rainy. And at this point, it just almost feels like impossible to call who's going to actually take it.
We've had so many back and forths now, with Hurricane eking out the slight edge in the last match. And this time around, Guardian needs to find something to push them back up. What's very concerning to me was the first 3v3 they played was a barely close win from Guardian. The second 3v3 they played was very dominating from Hurricane. And the final 3v3 they played, not as much dominating, but Hurricane definitely secured the advantage early on. That to me is my concern, is that for Guardian, I think they're slowly falling further and further behind, and it does feel like they're leaning on Vape, the destroyer on Guardian's team, to really make things happen and stabilize situations when they go for plays and it doesn't work out. Not to say that both their teammates are slacking, but it's definitely seems that Vape is helping them out in these situations and giving them kind of a new lease on life in many ways.
So I would definitely agree that he is indeed their X factor. The big question of, will he once again single-handedly save them or carry them in multiple ways? But it seems like it is going to be another Warlock mirror matchup to start things out, Rainy. So we've seen it before. It was really close, but yes, did get the best of Ikini.
Oh man. Oh, these mirror matches. Yeah, so the last time we saw the Warlock mirror match, right, obviously things happened, damage was done, and then it was just too late for Ikini to come back. It was just the difference of timing, where Yis was able to pop his time warp and get huge amounts of damage and pushed Ikini down to maybe like 20% health or something like that. And in return, Ikini's time warp got almost no damage onto Yis. And once you're in that situation, you're kind of put into this awkward spot where it just feels like nothing you can do is actually going to be good enough to just put your opponent in a position where he can't just press buttons at you and kill you, right?
And that is indeed a problem, because if you lose that much HP, once you're that low, you just, even if you hold up your block, it's not going to do it. It's not going to be enough. You need the Bastion, you need the other cooldowns. And again, the big thing will be who will manage to actually make the most out of that time warp. That's going to be the crucial one to keep our eyes peeled for, and that's definitely going to be the turnaround from one of these two players. So going into this one, as said, again, starting it out strong will be important for both of these teams, I believe, because as soon as you start picking up those valuable points, even though it really matters during those free refrees, you still definitely want to try and go for as many wins here on the board so that you could potentially close it out in set 6.
Yes, yeah, I think that currently I feel like Hurricane is on a streak. You know, they won all the 1v1s pretty much, and then they won the 3v3, or rather they were starting to win the 1v1s, and then they won all the 3v3s in the latter half of the match. And I think that is enough of a momentum to give them confidence in this particular match. So we'll see. Yes versus Ikeni again.
Both of them popping the Bastion, and Ikeni getting the best of his opponent for now. And he has the Brawl. Ikeni, or Yes, doesn't have it, and as a result...
I have to imagine it's done. Yep. You can't... At that point, it's so hard to drop, right? It's so hard to make a mistake.
It's... it's over, and the big problem was Yes didn't have the Brawl to use the Fallen or anything else to make sure he gets out of that bad situation, and Ikeni pulling the trigger first secured him the victory in the end. So
yeah, he really definitely pulled that trigger.
Oh yeah,
he definitely pulled that trigger, and that's how different it can go, right? The time warp when you get the opponent into the air is so strong because by the time they land, you just hit connecting CC, you catch them on their roll, and after that, they're just straight gone. You know, so easy peasy. Okay, step 1. Win the first 1v1. Okay, good. Guardian still has about 6 more steps to go, so we'll see if that's a thing that they can keep up. And Ikeni definitely, you know, I feel like he's had times where he's shown off some incredible plays. In the first match we watched today, Ikeni was just destroying OUO, and I think he has an opportunity to flex that.
There is some breaking news, though. It seems like we have a problem. We will have a rematch. Isuni was having technical issues, so don't cross out that completed first step just yet. It seems like there was the issue. The admins are aware of it. We got notified. We have a bit of we get into it really hot and heavy, so
it's hard to tell with Warlock Mirrors if it's somebody who's actually AFK or if he's just being comboed, because it looks almost the same. It can look almost the same. That's actually hilarious. That's hilarious. But hey, that means it'll be a rematch. We'll see. We'll see if the same scenario can happen. And of course, like, there are different ways that you can kind of shake out of it and ways you can make it uncomfortable for your opponent to commit to cooldowns that catches you in that ideal situation. So there's a little bit of counterplay, but I don't know. This Warlock Mirror match is...
And it's beautiful how all of it is lined up. Warlock Mirror match first. Second will then proceed to be the Assassin Mirror matchup. And then finally third, while they're not the same class, it's going to be 2 Beyblades, if you will. 2 spinning classes in Destroyer and Blade Dancers. So it's really hard to tell who's going to get the edge here, as that previous round was looking great for Team Guardian this time around, but oh man.
Yeah. Okay. Round two. Let's see. They're vying for space. Ooh, a good block.
Well, prompt the Bastion actually being used by Yes already, and so far we'll see who will get the advantage. Yes, of course, having the fallout first means that he could put up a lot of pressure, but no, Ikeni answers.
Oh, Ikeni is gonna use his tether, so he's gonna have Leech activated. Oh, and they're just both standing in Sanctuary. Wait, what? Who did it first? They're just oh my god, they're literally just staring at each other. Sick time warp.
They're just mirroring each other's abilities. They're just a contest of can we do the same exact things at this point, it seems like. Just not entirely convinced of that particular choice, but Ikeni still has the fall up for now. We'll time out shortly, and that means Yes is going to be the first one to get it back up.
All right. So now they just got to back away and wait for cooldowns. Yes summons his Thrall, and actually he's planning on going aggressive. Gets stunned up, though. Oh, no. And he actually takes some damage for it, while Ikeni is still trying to find some footing, but now his Thrall is up, and he has an opportunity to make something happen here. Leech is available.
And I love how both of the Thralls were just shooting away at each other, but the catch is there.
Does a good amount of damage. But still, without that time warp, it's not quite as easy to just explode your opponent in one go. But I think, oh man, that was a chunky block of damage that Yis put on.
And the big thing is, both of them still have leech up, and if one of those connects...
Oh, the thrall cooldown is a little bit offset here.
And since it's the second time he summons it after the use of time warp, he should have it back up. Ooh, it goes in.
He gets to roll out of the stun. And that's actually a really big benefit for Ikeni, that he was able to roll out of it rather than take any damage off of it. It's going to put him in a good position here. Let's see if they can trade really well. The time warp's coming out again. Somebody gets launched in the air. It's Ikeni. But actually, Yis didn't connect with a ton of damage. Meanwhile, the time warp trading for Ikeni, not quite the same. He wasn't able to get any kind of aggressive pressure out, and I think if they continue trading like this might end up just landing a big hit.
Ooh,
that could end it.
Still doing a lot of work here. He does have all of his escapes up and ready to go, but...
Watch out for the face damage!
Oh, it's gonna be so close. Time is running out shortly, too. 20 seconds remaining.
Oh, Yis is trying to go aggressive. The Sanctuary is right at the same spot. Thrall? And they're just gonna have to wait.
But did Ikeni actually use his time warp last time? I think he did. So none of these players should have time warp available.
Oh!
And as a result, the first one to get blown up, but
he didn't get any damage on it. I think the time ran out. I would have to imagine that it's going to be a tiny little number. I feel like Yis did more. Oh my god. I can't believe.
Oh man.
Wow.
So close.
That is so heartbreaking that you came in and had such a big blowout play against your opponent. And then next time around, it's like they woke up, right? And they played super carefully and they were able to sustain the situation. And Yis just landed, I think, just a slightly better connection on each of his knockups. There weren't many opportunities where Yis was actually sent into the air against Ikeni. And I think that's very telling, right? The fact that Yis could construct those aggressive plays and make that happen was a difference maker.
And in the end, of course, with that first win on the board, while it is going to be important, and we will still keep our eyes out for 3 versus 3, because that is still the biggest question that I at least have. Can Guardian get a good winning strategy for that 3 versus 3 setup? Because the only one they've got, just like you mentioned, was just so close and really could have gone either way.
I think it's important right now that Hurricane keep up their win streak here. It changes the dynamic of the match so much if you can win the first 2 and win the set. And really, it's the only way you can close out the match before set 6 typically is if you just straight win all your 1v1s to 3v3 and the resulting 2 1v1s. You have to blow out your opponents 5-0, right?
And so we'll see which one will be the victor coming up next, and it's gonna be another mirror matchup. As said, Sin versus Sin, the Bears versus Virus.
What a match! The Bears versus Virus, and the Sin Mirrors can get quite intense. Gets a day sweep and lands on the reflex roll, baits out the tab escape. He tries to go for the lightning strike. The poison breath will actually push him out of stealth, and this is really, really good actually for Da Bears. But I think Virus is able to control the situation just a little bit here.
Oh. But I believe he missed the mine there, and with that, the Bears maybe is going to get an advantage, but as I say that, Virus still manages to get him to use that tab escape.
It's all about momentum. Ooh, making him use a flower was actually really big. If there's another catch, which this might be it, gets the kick stun. Swap.
I don't think he can get the kill, but oh no,
he lands another stun.
The condo.
Yeah, and I think that's going to put Virus still in an awkward situation because he had to use his tab escape so quick, and Flower is available again for Da Bears, but he doesn't have the lightning kick stun. It all comes down to ground game, right? Oh my god!
Yeah!
Eat some mints! What the? Oh my! That was the stinkiest breath I have ever seen in my life. Did you see how much damage that did?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Poison
god!
breath is not something you want to mess around with. And the most important thing there was the Bears, while it was looking iffy at the one point where Virus got his tab escape back up, Virus got instantly pressured into using it again. So the Bears getting that win there in
just
the end.
Constantly winning so many different engagements, right? Just so many little things that went right. And despite the fact that Virus got a little bit of time spent, he did a little bit of a counterattack. It was just not enough really to buy him back. He had to spend his tab escape immediately right when it came back up, and his flower was still down. And in that situation, it's super safe for Dabears to play aggressively because he still has his flower and his tab escape is coming back up. And even though he used some really strong CC options, he was able to get control of the situation, and his mines were on point. And that's a really big advantage to have in an Assassin Mirror.
And now we will finally get our big question answers coming up next. It is going to be the first 3 versus 3. So this could very well dictate who will actually be the first place winner. And this is going to be so close. I'm just too excited at this point to find out who actually can win. And if Guardian can find a more secure game plan other than just let Vape go wild.
They're playing now for the set 6 win, right? So because they traded 1-1 in points now, they're all tied up. The new kind of focus point is how can we set ourselves up to make sure that we can close out the match at set number 6 rather than having to go to set number 7. So these future maps are going to be, these future sets are going to be important for that goal. And the 3v3 is going to be really important. Typically, I feel like Hurricane plays out the 3v3 much more solidly. I think their strategy is a little more sound, and their execution just in general is a little bit better. But we'll see. Guardian seems to make a lot of clutch plays here.
And that's the thing. In 3 versus 3 so far, just like you said, Hurricane seems to have a more clean approach or gameplay in general. So we're going to find out soon as the round will start, and I wonder who the actual openers will be. It's going to be the Warlocks.
Here it comes. Warlock mirror match. And typically, Guardian like to run Dabears first. But this time around, they swap it up and put Kenny in there, and he gets a bunch of damage chunked in, and he's still going up and down in the air, and finally doesn't get out.
That's absolutely disastrous. Dabears coming in for a potential save, but look at his HP bar. It's absolutely devastating.
Is just looking at people and killing them. He sees you, he kills you. He looks over, he sees another person, and he kills them. This is a huge loss early on for Guardian, and Yis is just taking them to town.
And at this point, it's really difficult to see how Guardian can actually bring it back, but he is still applying a lot of pressure. Does have his Thrall back up, and as a result, will prompt the opponent Warlock to tab out.
Tab escape already spent on the side of Vape. And Vape was kind of their linchpin in 3v3, the one that made everything happen, right? We'll see if that's going to be the case, but Dabear's still at like 10% health, and Kenny maybe at 20% himself. Not a good spot for Guardian.
And I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication or just a gameplay choice of them opting in for the Bears to go in for the assist and not a safer option with Vape for a potential save. They wanted to turn it around in their favor instead. But so far, as said, this is going to be absolutely just a huge monumental task.
Oh no. And he might take a lot of damage here. Spins his way out of it. Tab escape is still available, but blue buff is not. Oh, and actually earns a grab off, and so much damage coming onto Virus here. That's huge off the destroyer grab. An immediate tag out.
And as we've said, Vape could be the big turnaround. Did he get the counter there? Will be thrown up into the air instead. Drops below to 50%.
Oh my god. That was pretty good. That was pretty cool. Off the Blade Dancer grab, especially in tag, you have all the time in the world to talk to your teammates and say, okay, you're going to tag in, right? You're going to assist. And they did it beautifully, made the kill happen. Too easy, too clean. 2 big major plays being put out by Hurricane here. It's so effective. The first one, obviously, with Yis just double killing or doing damage to both Kenny and Dabears. And then Shower came in big, gets the grab onto Vape, and just calls him the tag. And Hurricane is working so well together, and that's what we were talking about in terms of, oh my god.
Oh man, at this point it's just we just need to close it out, looking for those last final few kills. Of course, the Bears still alive for now. We'll go back into the Warlock for Icenia, but as said, this is just, at this point, almost impossible to come back from.
Well, Vape's almost done it. Can somebody else on Guardian do it here? We'll have to see. Just trying to cut away. Gets a push.
Time Warp should be available on both ends, so we'll see who can get better use of it. Yes, of course, also at full HP, so at a definite advantage here, but no leech available for him at the very least just yet, so the damage can still be absolutely terrifying on the side of Icenia.
Gets a stun, forces a swap out, and Yis is still safe. Cooldown's available for both players here. Looks like Icenia is just gonna try to play some spacing here. Both thralls are down. And they're playing so carefully.
And the problem is, okay, you're going to get some cooldowns back up if you're Icenia, but your team is definitely going to get less out of stalling here. So you need to make something work. He's going to be brought down to 50%, some assist action coming in, but oh man, that is going to be it. And with the time warp coming through as well, the Bears should follow shortly as on top of that.
Yeah, at the end there, just a bunch of helixes coming through, and Yis is able to make the kill. And I swear, I want a chart that says how much damage each player in this team has done, and I feel like Yis is going to have like 70% of the team's damage done, because he just straight pushed health bars like it was nothing.
And again, while it's looking better and better for Hurricane, just like you mentioned, you got to keep in mind the fact that these players have been around for a long time, have participated in a lot of tournaments, and I think it definitely shows because they kept their calm and they managed to bring it back, reset the bracket, and come into this match in these few sets stronger than ever.
It's very important. Guardian needs to get their feet on the ground here. But Hurricane is really making it tough. The coordination in that 3v3 was just incredible. And the reads that they were making on the tag-ins and really punishing damage was just really, really good on the side of Hurricane. And I think Guardian needs to step up their team play to a certain point to match that, right? I feel like if you're not looking to kind of amplify the cooperation and the teamwork that's available to you for Guardian, it's going to be tough to match against Hurricane when they're playing at that level.
And at this point, Hurricane is up 3-1 in terms of points for this respective match. And if they win the next 1v1s, they can actually close it out in set 6. So they're looking mighty fine, very strong now at this point. And we're going to go into the Blade Dancer Destroyer matchup next. And can Vape do it?
That is the question. That is the question. So if Hurricane win even one of these 1v1s, they'll be at 4 points. So set six will be the end. Guardian needs to win too. This was the exact same position Guardian was in, or rather Hurricane was in last match though, and Hurricane was able to bring it back. So maybe Guardian is going to return the favor here. I don't know.
We'll see and find out shortly. Once again, if you wish to see the winner interviews of yesterday's EU Invitational and today's, or rather tonight's North American Invitational, make sure to follow BNS Esports. That's at BNS Esports over on Twitter. And you can also check out the esports section on the official Blade and Soul site, where all of the different winner interviews will be uploaded, of course. So we're going to be ready and going to go into our Blade Dancer versus Destroyer matchup.
All right. Shower versus Vape. I think Shower has some incredibly good lines of play and decisions in a dueling scenario, but he actually tries to open with Barrier there, thought that Vape was going to go aggressive, and Vape just sitting back, and he's going to take full advantage. Just animation. You can't even hear the sound. Are you listening? You can't hear it because that's animation canceling on the side of Vape, and he just chonked away Shower's health. Oh, man, that was brutal.
Still spinning away, gets a beautiful chase off of it, and Sunshower needs to use his tab escape. Very smart here, as the follow-up is still good. Actually got the counter, unfortunate, but with the grip, gets the reverse counter. Babe, what is this at this point still? Tab escape finally used on both sides.
Watch out for a blue buff.
Be available.
There it is. Oh, he avoids the parry. And that's really good. Gets a second stun here and is going to be able to do a lot of damage. But most importantly, he's going to buy himself time because that's exactly what he needs. He needs to buy time until his next tab escape comes up.
Oh man, at this point, it's getting closer, but Flock of Blades should be available. Every Stomp was there to make sure Vape is still standing, but no, the counter grab with the Phantom Grip is gonna be really bad for Vape here.
Oh man, puts him on the floor. And I think Shower's actually playing out this scenario really well. The tab escape being spent on the Destroyer, and now things are looking a little strange for Vape himself. We'll see what the play is here. Fire Spin is being spent. Good catch on the roll. Tab escape is being spent. Sends Vape into the air. And this is the opportunity here. Lightning Draw is available. He's gonna grab him up.
For the grab. Very patient play.
Wow. Shower from behind comes back. And that's exactly what I was talking about in terms of his ability to play out these 1v1 situations. He just makes a lot of very smart decisions. Did not panic. And in fact, you know, the animation canceling that Vape got early on was intentional on the side of Shower. He actually just opted to sit in it because he wanted Vape to spend more options to earn more damage. Vape wasn't willing to do so and just let him go with 60% health, which is pretty good. But that just shows you the confidence that SVN Shower has in playing out this neutral game, this 1v1 situation. He knows, okay, over time, I'm just going to gain that back. I'm going to get him in the air. I'm going to delay. That's exactly what happened.
And that's the confidence you need to be as clutch as Sunshower was in these moments. And as a result, Hurricane looking mighty fine. All they need right now is if they get another 1v1 win coming up next on the board, if they win set 6, they are actually our first place prize finishers. So, oh man, at this point, it's just looking really, really bad for Guardian. They need to step it up. They need to keep their calm and bring it back.
Yeah, it's really difficult to imagine a scenario where that can happen for them, just because Hurricane is on such a tear. But now's the time. You have no more opportunity. Set 6 is it. You know, Hurricane can close it out here. They don't even need to win this 1v1. All Hurricane has to worry about, okay, how are we going to gain the advantage in 3v3? How are we going to make that work for us? And that's all there is to it. After the 3v3, if they have the strategy to blow Guardian away, they will be the first place winner from the lower bracket, beating the team that initially beat them too.
That is going to be really impressive if they can do it, and it's going to be Vape versus Yes, and since Vape didn't get a win there, he will have persistence, already playing very aggressive.
We've seen this matchup before. It timed out. Looks like they're really leaning on Vape's expertise here, but Vape, after the loss against SVN Shower, might be... Oh, God, he's actually just chopping up. Yes! He's spinning and he's chopping, and he throws the axe, gets the daze. There's a reflex roll. Does he chase it down?
But the Thrall's still alive. The leech goes through.
Oh, please, please. He's going to use Flame Wheel to get out of that situation. And he actually survives, pops the stone shield. But there's still a lot of damage in the pocket. They needs to be a little bit careful here.
But he does have a small advantage in the fact that if he gets to force another escape out of the Warlock, that is going to be enough. And the escape is being kept. Finally gets to use it. Tetherblade will connect, but we will see Yes get the fall back up finally, but is it going to be enough?
Oh no, that parry stun I think was a nail in the coffin, and Vape, give him the pile driver. Give it. Oh no, he didn't give him the pile driver. Dang it. But that was really good. The blue pop into the parry was what ended it for Yes there. And Vape putting on the aggression. I liked his timing and how he played out that time warp situation. He saw it coming, was able to block up the damage, put himself into the stone shield, and that time warp ran out. And so he mitigated the worst of it, right? And that's so important. Yiz dropping the air combo. If that time warp had come out a little bit earlier, I think Yiz could have done something to extend his combo there, but not the case, and Yiz ends up losing it. But not super important, right? This 3v3 is what's really going to be the deal breaker here.
But was that the start of a reverse sweep? That is my question. It's going to be really tough because, as mentioned previously, Guardian had troubles closing it out in the 3 versus 3 environment before, and they have to do it twice. That's the big problem. It's not going to be enough if they just do it once. They have to do it twice in a row. So it's going to be a tough task, but they're not out just yet.
Yep. So Hurricane just needs to win set number 6, and they will take the whole match and be the champions of the tournament. But in the case of Guardian, they need to win set 6 and set 7. That's going to be a tall order, right? Much in the same way that the double elimination bracket gave Guardian that barrier. Now Hurricane is a team on the side of having that kind of safe gap, right? They have the little safety measure of like, okay, if we don't win this 3v3, that's fine. We have another crack at it. But if they do win, it's over.
And oh man, at this point, it's just so rough because a lot is on the table here for all of these teams, especially these two. First prize is going to be $1,200 alongside those very precious fighting points. And those are 220 for first place. Second place gets 150. And Guardian, looking at the standings right now, they definitely want to get that first place finish to get as close to Hurricane as possible at this point. And we're going to find out if they can finally turn things around. But judging by how well Hurricane's been playing in these 3 versus 3 matchups, it's really, really tough for them.
I think it's come down to this point. We've played the whole tournament. These players have been competing all day. And now it's just these few players left. Just Hurricane and Guardian. And Hurricane is about to take the reset win over Guardian, who was in the winner's bracket, but now everything is crumbling, falling to pieces. Here we go. This could be it.
And the Bears already opening up really well up against ES, forcing that escape. And at this point, things are looking better and better for Guardian. Actually going for the Ice Might Kill Thrall strategy. So
yep, there it is. Easy. No problem. He tries to go for Poison Breath, but actually gets a counter. Gets a stun up. Gets a stun up again. The tap escape is being spent by the Blade Dancer. That was a huge play, actually. That worked out so well for Guardian.
But the big problem is, even though you deal with that particular problem, now you're going to get the resets off on the Bears. You will have a new set of cooldowns to work with. But again, even though he got that off for ES, he was still not able to do much off of it because ES can just tag out and wait for those cooldowns to be back up.
Gets a stun. Tab escape is being popped here by Virus. Tries to go for the Ice Mine, but doesn't quite get it. And now, puts Bears into the air. Assist coming through. Time Warp is out now, and they're trying to do some damage, but actually Virus is being chopped away a little bit by Vape.
And now, so far, things are still looking great for Team Guardian as they manage to stabilize. And now if Virus gets caught once again, having to use that tap escape, even Lightning Stride catching him there forces him to tag out instantly. And you don't want to have your Blade Dancer out at the fight at this point.
That was such good play on Dabear's side. I mean, constantly, even in the 1v1 in that Sin Mirror match, Dabear's was just flexing his muscles. You can just see the individual talent on the side of Guardian, but the question is, can they bring that all together and make something cohesive happen in terms of teamwork? That's been the big difference between Hurricane and them in these 3v3 matches.
And we will have the Warlock rematch, Warlock v Warlock out once again. Of course, for Arcanian, will have his Thrall timeout, and as a result, the Bears are going to tag back in.
All right, the Bears again. Going to use the ice.
And same strat.
I don't think he's going to be able to kill the Thrall because it's giving him actually kind of a lot of trouble. And so the Thrall is still going to be there.
Should be able to do something possibly out of it, at least force the escape from the Warlock. But again, so far, since the Thrall will finally time out, the Bears should be in a commanding position for now.
He's going to kite away, and I think he's more than fine with this. The Thrall is gone now. He has the opportunity to make something happen in this time where the Thrall isn't here. But how is he going to initiate?
Only Reflex Roll available for now on Yis, but Time Warp should be available soon enough. Gets the swap with the resummon now being good. But the Bears, who has an assist, the Time Warp being there to just reset his cooldowns once again. Goes in with a Poison Breath, does have full HP again, and Yis might be in trouble, but the assist on the team.
Now Yiss is going to be in there, and I think they tried to pull something cheeky here. Time Warp gets popped, but still, I don't think there's very much benefit here, and I feel like there's been a bunch of swings here between these two teams, and all of them have just been missing the mark.
Unfortunately for them, it seems like it, and Yiss still staying in for now. Would have expected him to tag out relatively soon, but the Bear is more than comfortable to sitting in. Of course, now finally Sun Shower comes out of play.
What's interesting is there's been so little damage done that Vape hasn't even felt the need to tag in. One of the biggest things that Vape can do as a destroyer tagging in is oh my god, and he just chooses to do so in a Pentaslash right at that point, and now Vape is feeling a little bit silly here. Sitting there, lost already 40% of his health just for trying to play the game.
That is not something you're looking out for, and especially since the catch is good, actually, but the return damage is going to be going through, and with Ember Stomp, Stone Shield, Vape should be able to stabilize.
Backdash his way.
At the very least, could tag out here if he opts in to do so, since he doesn't have a tap escape. Persistence might be available though, so that might be enough to prompt him to stall out.
Yeah, and I think that he'll be fine doing so. In terms of resources, Shower, the Blade Dancer on the side of Hurricane, has actually no option to tag out now. So he's going to be put into an awkward spot if he ever comes in. That's going to relegate him to mostly using assists. On the side of Guardian, they have a much better spread of resources.
Ooh, but the aid is going to go through. Virus, however, still not getting too much out of it, and as a result, he just pieces out. We'll have the Warlock. The Warlock, once again, Yiss coming out, and with the Thrall being good, he's gonna look to do something here.
Oh
but
boy! Oh no! Kenny, I think, might actually take game-ending damage here, and it looks like the situation has stabilized just a little bit. Not quite the danger that was a one-shot, but he lost so much health for it. Can he recover? Tags out, puts the Bears back in.
That was so tragic for him, especially since I believe he wasn't even in range to get more than the first stack off of the Time Warp reset for himself. So Akini in big trouble, but the Bears still trying to do something for his team to match it out.
Lots of cooldown spent here on the side of Hurricane, and that's gonna force the tag out. So now Virus is in again in this mirror match. We'll see if this trend continues. If Bears just playing really well in this match. Oh, the Ice Mine. That was so good on the Flower Pop.
This will be a good setup, and the interesting thing is Virus doesn't have Lotus available, so does he have the fighting spirit? Does he want to finish this here and now? That is my question so far.
We'll see. They might go for the GZ. Oh, the Tab Escape is gone. This is, if there's any time, it's now. Virus lands a daze. Oh, here it comes. They both assist because they know how dangerous it is. It could have been over. Yep. Oh my god.
Playing spoiler there says nope. Staying stalwart with the Stone Shield, saving his teammate, but that could have been absolutely devastating.
Yep. Yep. Vape definitely, and that's what we were talking about early on. There were not very many assists needed for Vape to kind of mitigate damage, so he was able to have one extra assist for that particular scenario. And it definitely, I think, saved Guardian because that was real dangerous.
At this point, as a Sanctum up, all is still good to go for now, but Virus, very surprised he hasn't opted in to go out just yet, especially since he does not have that flower, that Lotus Flower, which can be really, really important now with the Leech, with the air launch. Does have an assist, but still quite a lot of damage being dealt, and with a Poison Breath, is that gonna be enough?
Oh no, everybody's trying to tag in, trying to make sure they mitigate damage, but in the end, it's not enough, and Guardian gets put on the back foot here. It's so important, and this is really what it comes down to, where Hurricane seems to, in these assist scramble situations, in these team situations, Hurricane seems to consistently come out on top. And I feel like that's a difference maker. Alone in kind of the 1v1 situations, I think they do just fine. Ooh, actually gets the parry on the stealth assassin there. Gets another one! No! That's one too many. You can't let him get that many parries. Oh, he's just getting breath on. There he goes. He's dead. Oh my god, Virus coming in, just sharing with them. The bad breath there.
And that is going to be it. This should be Hurricane's way to that first place finish. Vape is all that stands between that them and that first prize. So at this point, it's going to be a lot of pressure onto Vape. I don't see how he can do it, but tries to start it off with a Typhoon.
Yep. I mean, Vape has been doing really well for Guardian as a team, but I think this might be too tall an order. It is getting pushed around now. The time warp didn't end up too bad. There's a stun, spends a tab escape. Vape plays.
But still gets the grip, gets the drop, lightning draw comes in. This is gonna be it, and Sunshower will close it off, getting the victory at first place finish for Hurricane. And oh man, making it all the way back from the losers bracket. They get a revenge, and oh how sweet it is.
Hurricane, again, proving why they are the top seed in this tournament. They ended up dropping a game early on, and this is the beauty of the double elimination format, right? Where there are certain instances, and especially in that set 4 instance, Guardian was able to kind of get the best of Hurricane, but then Hurricane just buckled down, went through the losers bracket, and they worked hard. They won their matches and built themselves all the way back up to the finals to take the win from the tournament. So they're consistent, right? They're deserving of the first place spot for sure.
And big props, congratulations to them. They are your North American Bladed Soul Season 1 Invitational winners. And at this point, with all of the points they're going to get, they're definitely looking poised to go ahead and eventually represent North America at the World's Championship. And judging by how they play and how composed and how much endurance they have, I can definitely see a lot of potential in them.
Yeah, they definitely played really well. And I think that there's the big thing is I think they still have a ways to go, right? There's still a lot of things that they can improve on. There's still a lot of space that they can continue bolstering their performance. And I think they just have a bright future ahead of them moving forward in the North American Tournament Series here for Blade and Soul. If they opt to stick together and work on these things, they're already off to a good start, right? The top team in North America right now, just taking a big win in this particular tournament. So I'm looking forward to more from them. Virus is making it happen.
Oh yeah, and of course, big shout outs to all of the teams who participated. Guardian making really exceptional plays overall, getting that well-deserved second place finish. OUO bringing up their A game as well, making it all the way to third. And even some of the other teams like Flicker performing quite well. I would have expected Impact to get the best of them, but no, still managed to get all the way up there through the losers bracket. So again, thank you all for watching. Definitely make sure to follow the Blade and Soul channel on Twitch, as tomorrow there will be the Iron Tech Forge live stream. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Of course, follow Blade and Soul on all the social media. And once again, all of these awesome prizes have been won. Of course, first place, $1,200 by Hurricane, alongside those 220 fighting points. Second place gets 150 fighting points. Third, 90, and fourth, finally 50. And again, make sure to follow BNS Esports on Twitter at BNS Esports, just so you can get an inside view on Team Hurricane, as well as the EU winning team for Season 1 Invitational on Bad Intentions, because there will be interviews posted there. So once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Brunch. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been awesome to have you back, Rainy.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And it's been a while since I've kind of been in the Blade and Soul scene, but it's really fun to see the competition kind of ramping up and having this new format and the tournament series being announced. A big shout out to my guys over at Poharan, my good friends who always welcome me back no matter when it is and always helping me out. Please continue doing so. I'm just a little scrub, so thank you very much for continued support. And thanks so much for casting with me, Brunch. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much as well, once again. And of course, make sure to keep your eyes peeled for the wildcard tournaments, because those will be live. They're going to be awesome. I'm just too excited for them. I can't even begin to describe how much just pure excitement I'm feeling for those, especially seeing all of these awesome players live. But once again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you had a wonderful time during the tournament, and see you during the wildcard one, actually, next time. Bye-bye.